What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, your home for all of your favorite Detroit Lions content, news, analysis, and so much more. I am your host, Miko. You can find me over at Twitter at the Miko Scott. And today we are going to be talking about Lions joint practice against the Miami Dolphins, as well as previewing the Lions' next preseason game against these same Miami Dolphins. But before we get into all of that talk, first and foremost, let me introduce my co-host. First up, we have your senior editor over at Pride of Detroit, Ryan Matthews. Find him at Twitter at Ryan_POD. Ryan, what's going on, my man?
Not too much, Miko. Ready to get into what, from all accounts, was a one-sided affair today in Allen Park.
I'm wondering if today is going to be like a one-sided podcast because apparently, Taylor Swift is out there making waves and possibly stealing wave viewers. I don't know. 1.2 million viewers is a lot. So hopefully we can hang with that type of juggernaut.
We can't. We can't cut it. We can't hack it. Did you just ask if we could hang with Taylor Swift?
I just want to make sure that we typically get our normal viewership. That's all I'm saying. I'm just hoping we can retain our viewers, that people value us equally or as much as they do Taylor Swift. That's all I'm saying.
If Lions fans of this podcast are choosing the Kelsey brothers over us, then that says a lot more about them than it does about us.
I just want to shake, 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 shake.
All right. That's
All right,
that's Jeremy. Let's move on.
That's the voice of our other co-host, Jeremy Reisman, senior editor, or sorry, chief editor over at prideofdetroit.com, at Detroit Online on Twitter. Jeremy, we're going to be leaning on you a lot because apparently, like Ryan said, this was a pretty one-sided joint practice, but I'm going to need you to provide a lot of context because people at Twitter are saying different things. Different fan bases are making different narratives, and I need the unadulterated truth about what happened today.
I'm happy to give it because man, I left practice fired up. That is the most dominant practice I've ever seen. And to be clear, I only watched the Lions defense against the Dolphins offense. But now that I've seen the full minute highlight reel of Amon-Ra just toasting the Dolphins secondary in what was seemingly literally every single drill, man, that's just fun to see. Like what you can say, who cares? It's not preseason, or this team was missing this guy, that team. Like that was just a fun day at Allen Park, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow. You're muted.
That's a really fun thing to do as well in this podcast, is apparently keep yourself muted when you're trying to be respectful and not talk over people. Yeah, that sometimes happens. But no, there's a lot to get into from today's practice. But before we do that, let's kind of just overall setting of today's practice. There's obviously some injury news that kind of came out today. Dan Campbell mentioned in his press conference that like, hey, there would be no Terrion Arnold. And then Terrion Arnold said, nah, I'm gonna come out here and practice a little bit.
Yeah.
Bit of a shock, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, no doubt. Dan Campbell is not trying to play games with us. He's usually very open and honest. And, sometimes, I'm sure while he's out there doing his press conference, Terrion is meeting with some health professionals and probably getting some feedback. And maybe that changes in those moments. So I don't think he was trying to be deliberately wrong, but Terrion went through all of the individual drills, all of the cornerback warm-up drills. And he looked absolutely fine, by the way. And they were just like, okay, but you're not going to do any team stuff. Then he told reporters after practice, like, nah, I'm doing team stuff tomorrow, so y'all better get ready. So, again, things can very much change between then and now, and then and tomorrow, whatever. But I would not be concerned about Terrion Arnold, and that is obviously really good news. Which is crazy because Dan not only said he wasn't going to practice this week, he's like, we're aiming for next week. And you're like, oh, that's not great. That doesn't sound awesome, but... he's very close, and to the untrained eye, he doesn't look like he's laboring on anything right now.
And I would say the other player that we got some really good news about today was Sione Vaki, right? Like
Yep.
Dan Campbell comes out and says, we're going to add a little bit on his plate and see what he can handle. And, Jeremy, what did Sione Vaki, I mean, I know you didn't watch much of the offense, but did you spot Sione Vaki out there at all playing safety?
I talked. So Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers got to listen to me and Al Karsten, who was there from the stands, kind of talk about practice, and he told me Vaki had a full load. He was there splitting time with I think Craig Reynolds with the 2s and 3s. So got enough team reps where I think, assuming there's no setback in the next 24 hours, we'll see a pretty full performance from him. I would say both Thursday's joint practice, and then hopefully on Saturday during the preseason game, because I think that's where he's going to benefit the most. He's going to get the most reps preseason.
Did you hear that, Miko?
Listen, that's what I'm excited about.
I was going to say that was the sound of Craig Reynolds letting out a sigh of relief.
Right.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that more in the second segment of the show as we kind of look ahead to that preseason game. And there's a lot of questions even going into the Lions, technically the Lions' third preseason game, but week 2 of the preseason for everyone else in the NFL. Another person that we got some injury updates on that I was, again, very happy to hear about was Ahmed Hassanin. Kind of limped off the field yesterday. A lot of people weren't really sure, again, how, what it was or how serious it was. I believe it was Colton Pouncey that kind of tweeted out that even on his way into the building that he was like, no, I'll be fine. That seemed to be the case as he was out at practice today. I don't think he probably did a lot of participating in team drills, but no. It's still at least good to see him out there, not having to be, working with the trainers and still going out there and getting better at this point in the season.
Yeah, no question. I think this opens up the door for him to potentially play on Saturday. We'll see if he's out there doing some teamwork tomorrow, but to turn around, 48 hours later and be out there on the field after what, getting rolled up on can have a myriad of outcomes. It can be a season ender. It could be you sit out a drive. And luckily it sounds like we're a little bit closer to the latter there where hopefully we get to see him, doing what he does, screaming his head off. That's the way I noticed, by the way, that he didn't practice today. Is I did not just hear a random scream right before a rep.
I don't know. I feel like that's got a little bit of a letdown. In a practice like this, I would love to have heard and been able to see Ahmed go out there and basically let out those primal yells.
He'll probably force a false start this year just by screaming.
Can you do that? Is that against the rules?
I think that would
the rules.
Yeah, that'd be simulating the snap count, I think, technically.
Oh man. That's I don't know. That's a penalty that would get called and they would still get a chuckle out of me of
oh yeah. Absolutely. That's worth 5 yards. Come on.
Just once. Again, can't do it anymore after that, yeah. But once.
And not on a 4th and 3, please.
Preferably. Last one on the injury tip, Kirby Joseph not at practice today. Again, I think it's significant, Jeremy, just because of the injury things that have been going on with the secondary, and you have so many people that are having to fluctuate. But again, no Kirby Joseph meant more Rock Ya-Sin at safety. Not saying that Rock Ya-Sin wouldn't have been at safety anyways, but a lot more run at that today, right?
Yeah, and Kirby's kind of been limited for a while now. We've been seeing a lot of Rock Ya-Sin with the ones because he's just spelling Kirby Joseph for 30%, 40% of the snaps during, I would say the past week. And, Kirby missed a couple days. I don't know, what was that, after the first preseason game or so? And so I assume this is kind of just management stuff. There didn't seem to be on Monday any sort of aggravation of an injury. So I wouldn't be too concerned now. Obviously, we should wait and see what Dan Campbell has to say. But to me, this seems more like management for him, and so I wouldn't be concerned yet.
Okay. Well, as we kind of shift gears and, again, start to kind of talk about practice as a whole, one of the first things that I'm always curious about, Jeremy, when it comes down to joint practice is just the atmosphere of a joint practice. I know
Sure.
Dan seems to put a lot of emphasis on these types of practices, but in your opinion, because you are there for so many of these practices, what is the most noticeable difference, whether it's the pace or the style, whether it's the overall pace and style for both teams, or just the Lions versus the Dolphins and how they go about practice?
Yeah, in terms of basic structure of a practice, there is so much more reps and particularly for the first team. It's so much work. It felt like they got in a little bit of everything. They're running actual drives from the 30-yard line. They're doing red zone 11 on 11s, which we actually don't see a lot of. A lot of red zone work is 7 on 7s. We got a ton of 11 on 11 work. Red zone, middle of the field, left hash, right hash. This is what they talk about when they say we want to control every variable. Is we want to know how this team performs when we're here on the field, on this down, third down, actual drive. They end with a situational thing, which we see during regular training camp, but you get to see the offense and the defense run a 1-minute drill essentially. So I think that in terms of just how different it looks, that's the main difference. And it's mostly 1s and 2s. If you had to split up the percentage of snaps, it's probably like 75% ones, 20% twos, and 5% threes. Like, you are saving all of those twos and threes for the preseason game. You're really getting in this work for the starters. Now, if you want to talk about like schematic stuff and what's a little bit different, it's exactly what Dan Campbell kind of warned of right before practice when it comes to the Dolphins offense. It's a lot of misdirections. It's a lot of play action, rollouts, things like that. And I thought the Lions actually did a pretty darn good job of that with a mobile quarterback too. You know, not that Tua really likes to tuck and run that much. And for God's sakes, I hope he doesn't do that a lot this year. I thought the Lions actually managed a quote unquote mobile quarterback pretty well, because in the times in which he did like coverage sack, tucked and run, there was a guy waiting for him. And so I know that we're a little bit too early to say that problem is fixed, but I would say we got some encouraging signs from Wednesday's practice there, and hope that continues tomorrow.
I wanted to jump kind of to the end of practice in a way, but I also want to start back at yesterday with Grant Stewart and the comments that he made that I think are a little bit overblown.
Yep.
But he made some comments yesterday saying, I don't know if they're, the Miami Dolphins, ready. I'm going to keep it a stack. I've played at other places and played against that team last year and joint practice against that team twice when I was in Tampa. I don't know if they practice how we practice. I'm excited to see our guys for sure, and I'm excited to get out there and do something. Mike McDaniel responded to that and basically said, I just categorize that as noise.
Sure.
It doesn't affect us at all whatsoever. But Jeremy, do you think any of that factored into also, the Dolphins getting their lunch served to them in a few ways? Is that why tension kind of, reached a boiling point?
Well, I think in general, the tension of that practice was not that high. I would say the amount of scrums and pushing and shoving was relatively low. It was way worse from what I hear at the Giants last year. Like, that was out of control bad. Like, they had to stop practice a couple times, remember? And Dan's like, we've seen this in the past too, where Dan's like, hey, we need to stop practice right now, and that means we're not getting our jobs done. They never really had to do that. It only ends like practice is over and JMO's throwing punches. Like, that's really the only time it became a problem, and practice was already over. I will say that Grant Stewart had a little edge to him. There were times where like he's on the side, like very close to the sideline, maybe laying on a little extra shove, and Dolphins certainly took exception to that. But again, it never really escalated beyond a shove here and there. So for a joint practice, I would say this was one of the more mild-mannered ones. And I think part of it was because the Dolphins just had no fight in them, man. Like, they were just getting dominated to and fro. And so, I don't know, sometimes you see like in a hockey game when you're getting blown out like that, tensions can rise. But that like extra fight in them never came from the Dolphins. So I'd have to say point Grant Stewart.
Yeah, real quick, Miko, I want to share something that I saw from a Dolphins reporter, somebody who runs a podcast, Chris Kaufman. He co-hosts the 3 Yards Per Carry podcast. He's been covering the Dolphins for quite some time
today, by the way.
Yeah. He said, quote, this is at 5:57 today. Sounds to me like the Dolphins could have a players-only meeting soon over the way they're representing themselves in these joint practices. That would be a positive development. This team needs to confront that they've been over the last 3 years isn't enough.
That's stuff you want to hear coming out of like a joint practice in the preseason, right? Like, if you guys are having team meetings this early in the offseason, or I don't know how you want to view it, early, late in the offseason, not a good sign for your football team.
not a great sign, but I guess it brings me to just the point I want to make real quick. It's day one of joint practices. Like, how many times have we seen the Lions kind of struggle in day one, and then on day two, it's like, man, the Lions really, they took it to them the next day. This Miami Dolphins team, at the end of the day, they're a professional group of football players. Like, they're reading all this stuff. They're on social media. They're seeing, that the only Dolphins highlight I saw, Miko, was Minkah Fitzpatrick breaking up a pass to Ronnie Bell. Like, that was the highlight.
I was gonna say it was that, and A-Chain getting like a couple like good like runs or a couple plays in the passing game. Like, I'm with you though, Ryan. Like, it's that type of stuff where, like, Jeremy, you're talking about, like, probably not a lot of scuffles today. Like, probably gonna be a lot tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
there's going to be quite a bit tomorrow if practice starts the same way or starts to go the same way that practice went today.
Yeah. But I do want to underscore how rare of a dominant performance that was, because I've been covering this team on site since 2018, so I've probably been to about 10 or so joint practices. Not a ton. There are some bad teams that I watch, right? Some bad Lions teams, some Matt Patricia teams, that the first year of Dan Campbell. Those were some bad teams, and they did not get worked like this. And you like, I think you can even remember, like, one of the things we like to do at Pride of Detroit is pull the reporters from the other teams, right? Pull the reporters from the other teams, compare them to our observations, and generally speaking, everyone gives a little edge to their team. That was not the case today. That like the Dolphins reporters were lock in step with Lions reporters saying this was a butt whooping, both sides of the ball, in a way that it was surprising to me. I thought that the Dolphins were better defensively than they showed up today, reportedly, and I know they were missing Jalen Waddle. I know they were missing Tyreek Hill, but the Lions were missing two of their starting secondary players, right? They're missing Kirby Joseph. They're missing Terrion Arnold. It's a little bit different with skill position players, but still, I was just having a debate with Eric about Tua and how good he is. And to be clear, like, there were a couple of really nice passes from Tua, but I thought he looked lost at times, where it was just like, there's nowhere to go with the football. Aiden Hutchinson is constantly in my face. It was almost like he gave, like, how in these practices when a quarterback is not getting sacked, obviously, right? There's guys that run by him. They might touch him on the waist or something. They'll blow the whistle dead. A lot of times you will see quarterbacks still run through the play. Like, they want to throw the ball. They want to get the rep. They want to see if they can find the open receiver anyways. By like the halfway point of practice, Tua is just like stopping. He's just like, Aiden Hutchinson's there and he's just stopping. He doesn't know what else to do. He's like, well, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't a real play anymore.
I saw he talked about that after practice with the Dolphins beat. Like, he
really?
just spoke about how frustrated he was with today's practice and how they just have to take a look at everything, Miko, look at the film and be better tomorrow.
They stole their soul,
that speaks
man.
to that frustration. The one other thing, I guess we can segue kind of into like the defensive takeaways, Jeremy, but that was going to be my question is, you have a team without Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. For the most part, I know Jalen Waddle did a little bit of the red zone stuff, but
like probably no more than 5 snaps.
And it's like, okay, I'm not taking everything with a grain of salt. Like, line up who you're going to line up against. I mean, even Amon-Ra St. Brown in the offensive highlights is picking on Jack Jones, who's a depth secondary guy, and Miami's secondary is already a tire fire.
Yeah.
But on the defensive side of the ball, I saw that you noted that Taj Washington had some of the better play for the wide receivers today.
Yep.
He was a bubble guy coming into like week 2, week 3 of the preseason. And I mean, he's a guy who a lot of people have on the inside now, and he had a okay day at practice, for all intents and purposes, but it's like that drop off from 2 of the top 20 receivers in the NFL to Taj Washington.
Right. No question that needs to be underlined, underscored, all that, those sort of things. But it almost speaks to me more the amount of success that the offense had in this day compared to all the struggles they've had going against their own team for 2 weeks. Like, we talked to Amon-Ra and Taylor Decker after practice, and you could just like sense the relief that they didn't have to go up against the Lions defense anymore. They didn't have to go up against Amik Robertson and DJ Reed, and in Taylor Decker's case, even though he's just, he doesn't have to go up against Aiden Hutchinson. He doesn't have to go up against Marcus Davenport. They were so relieved that that barrier has been lifted, and now they can show the team that they really are. And, I don't think they ever lost confidence or anything in themselves, but like, this was definitely, they both admitted, like, yeah, we felt like we kind of needed this. We kind of needed this to show everyone else, to remind ourselves we can do this. We are still who we were last year. And I think the Lions fan base probably could have used it too. And so I almost feel like I take more from the offensive performance as proof that the defense is real than the defense doing it to a depleted Dolphins team that's also missing the right tackle, by the way. So take that as you will.
I think that's a good.
Hutchinson lined up against him.
I think that's a good point though, because that is the question that like I came away with after like reading how much the defense was kind of imposing their will. Is like, is it Ryan, like, have we reached this point in the offseason where like people really need to start buying the stock like that is being put out there about this Lions defense? Again, it's preseason, it's a joint practice, it's all those things, but when you're consistently giving one of the top offenses trouble in practice and then you go up against another team and they're just not having a great day, at some point in time, like as a Lions fan, you have to feel like, you know what, this is a good investment to believe that this defense is actually going to be that much better than they were last year.
Them playing well today was confirmation that the Lions defense is for real. That's what that says to me. The offense wasn't 2 steps behind. The defense is just that darn good. And I'm not trying to be a slappy at this point, but the way that the Lions offense performed today wiped away like any concern. Even if it was just like an ounce of doubt that I had about the Lions offense. You have to remember about this league, it's a talent-driven league. They have talent in spades on offense. They have talent in spades on defense. They're chock full of talented football players on either side of that ball, Jeremy. The way that the offense performed today just let me know that the Lions defense is really that good.
Yeah. And two things to add, and then we can move to a new topic. Like we talked to Derek Barnes after practice too, and he was just like, now you guys remember what we looked like when we weren't injured. Now you guys remember.
Bars.
Right? Like
Bars.
that is who they were for the first 2 months of the season. And you know, even that is without Derek Barnes, without Marcus Davenport. Like they were who they were, a top 5 defense, and that is what they're capable of doing. And then I heard via Will Birchfield, Jahmyr Gibbs saying like, oh yeah, like with Taylor Decker in the lineup and us not going up against DJ Reader and Tyleek, and like all I got to do is run straight now. Like I don't even have to do anything. I just got to run straight. And like that's scary. That's freaking scary. I will say, like, if there is something you want to still be concerned about for the Lions offense, and I don't know why you want to be that way, the depth on the offensive line remains, I think, an issue, because from what I hear, it wasn't exactly a great day from Dan Skipper or Jamarco Jones or Giovanni Manu. Interior depth is a little bit better, but that tackle depth is still a pretty glaring problem right now. And I mean, you just want to hope that your tackles are fine and you don't have to worry about that.
No, that's a really good point. I do want to stay kind of a little bit focused on the defense because, again, despite them having a great day, like I'm curious on who. Like I want to know the who's and things of that nature because, like you said, Jeremy, there are a number of players on this defense, but I mean, is it the same names that we've been expecting and we've been seeing that have been pretty much dominating in this practice? And as like a caveat to that, who are a couple people that you were like, man, like that guy came in as like a bubble guy and is actually having like a really good day defensively?
Yeah, it's tough because there was so much from the starters that I don't have a ton on like the bubble guys. Like Nate Lynn had a sack, so I know Ryan's excited about that.
Say the other name. Say the other name. He had an interception.
Oh, well, a couple. I mean, a couple guys had interceptions against a not so great backup quarterback in Zach. What is it? Zach
Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Thank you. I keep thinking Zach Allen for some reason.
Zach Wilson, though. But I'm talking about the former GLIAC defensive back of the year, Nick Whiteside.
That's right. Whiteside. That's what Whiteside is definitely the answer for a bubble guy who had a really good practice because he even got sprinkled in with the ones a little bit. Definitely had an interception. Kennelly had an interception. And Kennelly also got some one work ahead of 24. Gosh, it's been a long afternoon. Strickland, thank you. So that to me feels like a those guys are like neck and neck, I would say, for what could be the safety 4 battle now that Dan Jackson's out. But in terms
Rocky Sin stepped in for Kirby Joseph, right?
Yes, Rocky Sin. I don't understand how he looks so normal of a safety. He had, and you'd think like, okay, Rocky Sin has nickel experience. He can play a box safety well. That would make sense, right? Those skill sets overlap a lot. We see a lot of guys do those two things. He can play like single high, man. He had a beautiful rep on a deep shot where he was the bracket with, I don't remember who the corner was, but the corner was in good position, but just like arrived just as the ball was arriving. And if that ball wasn't 5 yards overthrown, he would have picked it off. And it's just to do that so seamlessly at a position like he hasn't played at the NFL level in whatever the 4 or 5 years he's been in. Like, he has suddenly become such a valuable member to this team because I think he can play any of the 5 positions in the defensive backfield. And that's a nice luxury to have, especially when you're maybe feeling a little thin with Ennis Rakestraw out, with Dan Jackson out. You have a guy that can fill in anywhere and look great doing it. It's kind of incredible. But like the starters, DJ Reed to me is probably not getting enough love. I thought he's had a great camp and was awesome today. Hutch and Davenport continue to wreak havoc. And I mean, I don't know. Like there aren't a lot of names I would say didn't perform well today. I think DJ Reader also is just like so much more disruptive than I guess maybe even I expected. Like, we had these talks in the preseason saying like, well, you know, DJ Reader's a full year off from the torn quad. Maybe he's gonna have a breakout year. Well, I feel like he might have a breakout year. Like, even as a pass rusher a little bit. Like, he flashes his ad a little bit. And I'm like, okay, DJ Reader.
Even Jack Campbell. You know, I saw your notes on Jack Campbell. Like, look good in coverage, fit into the run, doing all the things that you want to see out of a guy in his 3rd year.
The only person who gave them consistent bouts is A-Chain. And
he's good.
And that's mostly in the passing game. And it was like watching a replay of Jahmyr Gibbs burning Alex Anzalone downfield on a wheel route. Like, that is just such a tough assignment for anybody. But he's the one guy where it's like, okay, maybe some of those receiving type running backs could still pose a little bit of problems to this defense.
But even then, like, not everyone has a Devin A-Chain. Not everyone has a Jahmyr Gibbs. And I would at least venture to guess, Jeremy, that like if this was a real game, like the Lions would have a better matchup, right? Like, they wouldn't leave Jack Campbell or Alex Anzalone or Derek Barnes in those situations to just get torched like that. Like, you would have to make some sort of adjustment. I can't have another like Tyler Johnson flashback of that type of situation happening, Ryan.
Oh, but I love Ty Johnson.
Oh, Ty Johnson.
Friend of the podcast, by the way.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I want to give you guys some Rocky Sin snap alignment counts real quick, just to
hit me,
just to drive home the point that you're making, Jeremy. 2,600 plus snaps at outside corner, only 113 snaps in the slot. One snap at free safety in his career in the NFL.
It's wild.
203 in the box, though. You're talking about a guy who has been an outside corner his entire career.
Yeah.
And he's just, I have the nickname. He's the chameleonaire.
The way you feel about Nate Lynn, Ryan, is how I've been feeling about Rocky Sin. Like, every time he's mentioned in the positive, like I get this like feeling of glee, because like I've said before, like I was a fan of him back when he was in the draft, and to see it like coming to fruition again in practice in the preseason is one thing, but it's like it looks like this could actually be real. Like, we could actually be seeing a quality depth player in this secondary.
Exciting stuff, man.
You know what else is exciting? Getting 20% off jerky, right? And thanks to Righteous Felon, that's exactly what you can do. The Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Every 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced all natural Black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. And I can't emphasize enough for you guys like the unique flavors aspect. We talked about this last week. Darth Garlic has easily moved into my top 2, and I also had bootleg barbecue. That is probably one of like the most like best and purest like jerky flavors I've had. Like, it's when I think beef jerky, bootleg barbecue from now on is probably the jerky that's come to mind, and I can't recommend it enough. And trust me, you don't have to just take my word for it. You can go try it out for yourself and get an amazing savings over at righteousfelon.com. All you got to do is go over to their website, use the promo code POD20 at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's promo code POD20 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, guys, we're going to jump back into talking about joint practices, but this time we're going to put a little bit more focus on the offense, because like Jeremy alluded to, the defense gave them trouble throughout the week. They finally got an opportunity to really shine. And I think a familiar face kind of shined the brightest, no pun intended, and definitely remind us why he's such a dynamic threat in the passing game. So we'll get to that and so much more right after this.
All right. By the way, the Dolphins could only hope to rebound as well as
now Jeremy's muted.
Shoot. My fault.
Passed it on.
I was saying chat heard me, but you guys didn't. I was saying the Dolphins can only hope to rebound as well as Miko did from last week's beef jerky read to this week's.
The Miami Dolphins hope that they bounce back tomorrow like Miko did.
Yes. I've had that read up since 6 o'clock.
just taking reps.
Hey, low key. So full transparency, like I'm still getting like my bearings with the podcast, specifically the intro. The first time ever in my life that I actually like this week ran through the intro like multiple days this week of just like making sure I got it.
That's a professional.
That's right.
Hey, man. I take this very serious.
The one thing I want to say, though, is how sad do you think Fatu Melifonwu is being on the other side of the field?
Oh, bro.
Like, I know he's probably not watching a whole lot of Rock Ya-Sin, but it's like, oh, that could have been my job.
He had a long conversation with BB after practice. I was far enough where I wasn't about to snoop on him, but there was obviously a lot of eyes on Fatu Melifonwu when he was walking through the media.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really in the talking mood, which
I wonder why.
Understandable. What was I going to say? Can someone hit the Righteous Felon command again? I just updated it because I saw that it still was stuck on 15, and I want to make sure it's good. Thank you, Ryan.
Ooh, you got it. Also, here's the other thing with that. I tested it last podcast. If you spend over 50, you get free shipping. So like,
and you can still use the POD20.
And you can still use the promo code too. Boy. So it's a lot. We
gotta start including that in the plug because free shipping is a win for a lot of people.
It's like $7 typically with a lot of things like that.
I will say domestically though. I don't know. Obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
About other places, but
Canada not included.
All right, let me get through some alerts and then we'll chat about whatever you guys want to chat about for a little bit. We got a lot of alerts today, and I think that's because a good old friend of ours finally
I see him in here.
came back.
Hi, Nick.
And in fact, we start with Nick the Greek with 56 months subscribed to the channel. It says, the problem with kids today is that nobody takes time to stop and remember Matt Patricia's ample bosoms and how they sheltered us in the off season. Sure. Joshua Buckner, thank you for the subscription on YouTube. Okay, I was making sure we didn't one from yesterday. We got that one. Das Gibb, thank you for the 46 months. Says Taylor Swift, big Jared Goff fan. Yeah, apparently. And the Lions just actually posted their clip from that show. And do we want to watch it? Are we allowed to watch it on stream?
I'm just going to say that we're going to get demonetized.
Okay, well, okay, so you just don't want to see it. Got it. J-Man Jr., thank you for the 49 months subscribed to the channel. Dang, it's a lot of months. Just over 4 years. Appreciate you, bud. RGA, 33 months, says Miko's right. Raising Cane's is overrated. Wow, we are spreading the Raising Cane's anti-gospel.
I will never lie to you guys about chicken.
I'm worried we might get like served.
just these cows kicking down our doors. We said eat more chicken.
Miko's getting his cast iron juicer delivered, but it's actually a subpoena.
Listen, if Raising Cane's wants to do that, like prove to me that you put salt and pepper on that chicken.
Oh man.
All right. How many of these Nick the Greek 100 bits am I going to read? Over under 5. There's, let me see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and technically a 12.
I'm gonna say 5 is a decent number. It made me want to go under, but I think you're gonna read half of them.
Okay.
I'll
Nick the
stick
Greek
with 5.
with 100 bits says, remember when the Lions beat writers were forced to enable notifications from Kelly Stafford's Instagram? Yes, I remember that time because I had to be one of those people.
Are you gonna read the next one? I don't
No,
think so.
I don't think so. I'm sorry.
All right, so we're at 1.
Thank you for the 100 bits, Nick the Greek.
And you're not reading the next one, probably?
No, I'm just going to do it. Who cares? 100 bits from Nick the Greek. Ahmed Hassani tore his scrotum clean in half with stuff leaking out and went back into the game. Not true.
That's
to be
grit,
clear.
though. That's grit.
That is grit. Where was I? Wait, I skipped one. Did I skip one?
No,
I didn't.
Well, you
Okay.
skipped one that you weren't going to read.
You Wagon Maker, thank you for the 24 months. I am not going to read your message because we don't want to. I'm sure the person
Thank
that you
you.
said that about appreciates the compliment. I'll just say that. Nick the Greek, another 100 bits, says, remember when Snacks Harrison stole $12 million from Bob Quinn and then stopped trying to play after that? That I don't even remember. There was some like weird exit mutual parting thing with him, right? I don't even remember what
That
it was.
entire regime like has a weird stain on it that like
Remember
Dumped.
like how excited
Gone.
we were about a half of season of Snacks though? Like he turned around the run defense for like 7 games. We're like, oh my god, it's happening, and then like, no.
Yeah.
it's not.
Remember, it was the Dolphins game in Miami, Brock Osweiler. And then the week after that, it was the Seahawks game at home, and then Golden Tate got traded. Yeah, that was a year.
Oh boy.
that was so much misery.
That's why literally when I got home today, I was thinking about practice today, and I know there are going to be a lot of people out there that said, oh, who cares? This joint practice doesn't matter. And I'm just like, but wait a second. I don't care about how it projects to the future. Today was just fun. Like, let's just think about having a fun day at work, watching the Detroit Lions destroy a team at practice. It doesn't have to mean anything more than that. It can just be you watched your team kick another team's ass, and that was fun.
On August 13th.
On August 13th.
Awesome. Like, would you rather be the Dolphins right now,
Right.
or would you rather be the Lions?
Right.
Like, that's what it boils down to.
Yes.
Facts.
And when you what was it you mentioned something? Oh, the fact that there are like reporters talk like being on the other end of a team meeting, right?
Yeah.
A team only meeting where it's just like, oh, we're the team forcing the players only meeting. That's nice because I was pretty sick of the we need to get our crap together. Let's have a players only meeting. That's how we're gonna turn our season around. No, we're forcing that. We're forcing the like last resort, keep the band together type thing. It's like that and removing the ping pong table. Those are like, oh God, if they're doing that, it's over. It's over. There's no hope for this team if they got to have player meetings and they got to have a ping pong table.
I feel like Dolphins writers should give a little thank you to the Lions beat for letting them kind of churn out any 4 trade destinations for Tyreek Hill articles.
Wait, that was actually happening yesterday. Did something happen yesterday? Was there like a report or speculation or something? Because I was just looking up, I was writing something this morning. I'm like, let's see like what the chances are Tyreek Hill is going to play. And I was looking for Mike McDaniel quotes. And then there was like 7 articles of like exactly that. Like 4 trade destinations for Tyreek Williams. Like what happened?
It's just been trending in that direction ever since
yeah.
he requested a trade.
Yeah.
And like,
wasn't it like
off, right?
there was that weird kind of exchange between Tua and the media, like at the very beginning of training camp when they asked him about like the relationship with Tyreek Hill and where you go from here. And I didn't really think that Tua had anything. I don't think he said anything wrong, but it just like amped up that like, oh, this isn't resolved.
Yeah. I mean, when you end the season and you're basically like putting your 2 weeks notice, like
Yeah.
everything's going to be weird and everyone's just going to talk. And I think like the fact that he is injured, right? I probably shouldn't have done figure once, but the fact that he's like injured probably like is leading to those articles being written. They're like, oh, he's supposed to have a joint practice, which would be a great opportunity for him to go out there and compete, and he's not.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going to be really bad this year, though. I think the Dolphins might finish last in the AFC East.
Oh, for sure. And it's
Patriots, Bills.
again, it's how your coach
Aaron
looks.
Glenn.
Oh, the Jets.
Yeah. I feel like how your coach looks shouldn't tell you, like, shouldn't say much about a team, but Mike McDaniels looks like a dude that's like been through the ringer and is just ready to get out.
Me and a couple of guys on the beat were talking about Mike McDaniels a little bit and whether he's too like eccentric. Because like,
what do you mean by that? Because I don't know if eccentric is necessarily the right word, but like he's too like
like laid back, yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah,
it's because like I brought up the point that in some way he's actually cut from the same cloth as Dan Campbell in that like he is so unapologetically himself.
Oh yeah,
which I think should be appreciated, but it can't stop there. Like you have to also be able to motivate people. And I don't have any insight towards Mike McDaniel and his ability to command a room or how much the players do or don't respect him, but it's just such a different personality from what you would expect from a head coach that I am curious as how it resonates.
I just thought he used to be like when he first got that job, I thought it was like a lot more smooth. Like you're right. He was always unapologetically him. And I thought it came off way more confident. And then like I saw the clip where he talked about the Grant Stewart comments and he looks like a dude that's just like, man,
you think he's checked out? Get
to the season. I just think, yeah, like he looks like a dude that's just like, bro, I'm trying to get to the season and hopefully not get fired this year.
What's the name? Oh God, this is me playing what's the name of that guy again? The SNL guy that like dresses like a homeless guy. He's not even on SNL anymore. The King of Staten Island, that guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yeah, he reminds me of Pete Davidson. He gives me Pete Davidson vibes.
Yeah, he does kind of have that like, ho hum, you know.
Yeah.
Life is as it is.
He wishes he had Pete Davidson swag. Pete Davidson got Kim Kardashian like out of nowhere. Like Mike McDaniels could never.
Yeah, he also ended up like in the crosshairs of a mentally ill human being. So
yeah, that's a conversation for a different day. Because
he was out there wearing capris though today. It was just like,
well, he wears those a lot now.
He does.
I think it's a little different, but it's almost like he followed down the same career trajectory as Brandon Staley, like offensive mastermind. Goes to Miami. Brandon Staley like goes to the Chargers. Like things are okay. Like things are good. Like there's room to be better, but like there is no better. Like there was no better with Brandon Staley, and it was like a slow decline into like when is this guy gonna leave? And like I kind of feel like we're at the point with Mike McDaniel where he's gonna be an offensive coordinator next year.
I feel like the decline has been a little bit faster. Like I feel like those first 2 years in Miami was like, oh, like they could definitely be something, and then like concussions with Tua kept happening, and it was like, oh no, this is like he doesn't know how to make this team better from there.
Yeah, I want to say that Brandon Staley's first couple of years were pretty good with the Chargers too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mike McDaniel made the playoffs his first 2 years, and then last year was 8-9, with Tua missing like 6 games. So it's not like it hasn't been a disaster, but I can definitely see a just like 4-13 team this year.
But if it's a 4-13 football team, I don't think that all of that record is given to Mike McDaniel on his PFR page. Like there's going to be a note like I see here with Brandon Staley fired after week 15.
After 2-13, and you get the little interim bump for 2 games.
Yeah. Staley went 9-8 his first year, and then he went 10-7 his second year. So it was like trending in the right direction. He also had like Pat Mahomes in the division. Yeah. So I guess it's kind of similar where like, I mean, Buffalo's just kind of like been punching down on everybody in that division ever since Brady left.
Yeah.
Very true. All right, let me get to some more alerts unless you guys want to talk more Mike McDaniels.
Pretty good on Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Fair. Nick the Greek 100 bit says, remember Titus Young and Mike Williams and Charles Rogers and Ryan Broyles? Yes.
Yes, unfortunately.
Nick the Greek 100 bit says, remember when Ryan Matthews was young and bright-eyed instead of being grizzled?
Yeah, I do. Vaguely.
What extinguished the light in your eyes, Ryan? What's going on?
Parenthood.
That
Yeah.
happens with a lot of people I hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
It comes back at some point.
Yeah. I have to imagine that as sleep increases, like the jubilance returns.
Sure.
As their independence increases, like you're just like, oh, like you start coasting through life where you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to get people like to places, and that's about it.
Cool.
Like Lonnie's, I don't know. My oldest is getting ready to go into high school, so I have like a 9th grader and I don't know what grade AJ's going into. 4th, 3rd, 4th, something like that. But like both kids are like so independent, where it's just like, oh, like you guys are good.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you just like a glorified Uber driver at this point?
My wife is. I'm a glorified ATM machine.
About time to get those first jobs.
Oh man. We could talk about that for a minute.
This was supposed to make me feel good about what's ahead.
Get them to work at Checkers so you can get that discount.
Bro, it's either so I would not put my kids in fast food. Like I would it's a great, like, you can learn.
That's what I'm saying.
People skills. Like you can learn how to treat people in fast food. But if we're talking about the perks that I care about, get a job at the movie theater. I'm trying to get some free tickets and some free popcorn.
Okay. I thought you were saying, you're gonna acquiesce and be like, well, actually, Raising Cane's, so I can like infiltrate and like become
I'm
like
not saving
CEO.
No, Raising Cane's needs a burn to the ground for what they've done to people.
Whoa!
For what they've done,
to people.
Bro, you have
They're
a collection of people that thinks that's good chicken. You have lied to a multitude of people.
Hey,
and
they're still making the sauce. The sauce is good.
The sauce could be sold at Walmart, and you'd be like, "Oh, I'll just go to Walmart and get the sauce."
Okay,
bro. I wish they would put a Raising Cane's like down the street for me. I'm picketing.
With like salt and pepper signs. Like, is that what you're gonna be?
I would come dressed as Salt and Pepper. Like, I'd find out how much it would cost to rent out Salt and Pepper, the rappers, and see like what it would cost to get them to perform in front of Raising Cane's.
You could get a cameo that you could just put on a projector on loop. I knew that was gonna get Jeremy. I was gonna say you could get Jeremy to come down there and
ooh, baby.
Oh man.
Now I need to see if Salt and Pepper do cameos. Are they both still alive?
Yeah. And if they do, let me find out if I can send one to the CEO of Raising Cane's.
Peppa is on Cameo, 100%. Oh wait, Sand is unavailable. They're on Cameo, but there is a wait list of 451 people.
Oh,
I'll wait. It's worth it.
Wait, who's Spinderella? Is a legendary DJ from the iconic hip hop group. Okay, so she's available for $200. That seems a little steep.
putting a price on Spinderella?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like athletes, not that athletes are more or less valuable, but I don't know. I feel like you have to be you can get Dante Culpepper for $75.
I think I'd question your life choices if you're getting cameos from Dante Culpepper.
Dan Skipper is $100, by the way.
Dan Skipper?
Yeah.
How can Dan Skipper charge more than Dante Culpepper?
Who does he think he is?
Because he's active.
He's got one touchdown pass.
He's active, guys. Because the Lions are hot. There's 31 Lions. Oh, Dante Culpepper is technically under Lions.
Bang, bang. That's the thing. That I was wondering, did you find Dante Culpepper's name because you searched Salt and Pepper?
No, I just clicked sports and it was there.
Oh, okay.
He's like a featured member.
Yeah. I clicked on it. It also said Cameo's pick. So he might be the only active. Kenny Wiggins. Ifeatu Melifonwu, the aforementioned. Scott Daly, like Rashad Berry, Amani Oruwariye.
Hey, I can get a John Gruden one for $349. I told you guys. I told you guys. I told you guys.
Yeah,
I told you. I told you. I told you. I told you.
That I believe Dan Skipper is the only active Lions player currently on Cameo. I need to ask him about it.
Is Antonio Brown still like being searched for a murder? Because he's on Cameo. It says he turned him around in 24 hours.
He just does it in front of a green screen, so you don't know where he's at.
I was good. Last I heard, wasn't he out of the country? Didn't he flee the country?
That's what I thought.
Oh no! I just made myself extremely sad. I went to the front page of Cameo, and I'm looking at the top 10 people on Cameo, and I don't know a single one of them.
Oh,
I've never heard of any of these people. I am. Oh, let me ask if you know. Do you know who James Buckley is? No. He is number 1. He is an actor from The In-Betweeners. Don't know what that is. Bopham is number 2. Bofem. A TikTok creator. Never heard of him.
Oh. Mm-mm.
Oh, that doesn't count. TikTok's too big.
Smooth Poppy is number 3.
Nope.
TikTok creator. Corey King from RuPaul's Drag Race. Jax Taylor from Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, no, you're definitely proving your point right now.
I know who that is.
Soy Teat, a Count Master singer. Soytiet. I think that is like a foreign name.
I have nipples, Jeremy. Can you milk me?
Someone named Jen from Corporate, which is animated. A prank caller / comedian actress. Simon Kagwa Njala. Oh, he's the guy. He's a journalist, but he's that meme. I thought that was from like a TV show.
Is it this?
It's the
this guy?
No, it's a guy who asked someone like, "Why are you gay?" Do you know that meme?
Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that guy.
Apparently, he's number 8 on Cameo.
Is Triumph the insult comic dog on Cameo?
I would love that.
I was gonna say because I'd pay for that.
Sir Spence, CER Spence, a comedian, and Big John the Bosch father, a TikTok creator.
I don't know who any of those people are, but that awful Last Chance U coach, Coach Jason Brown is on Cameo.
That's doing the podcast with Sean Salisbury that you showed me and ruined my day.
It messed up my algorithm for 48 hours.
Good.
Like
Good.
I had to like click and say like I am not interested in this. I'm not interested in this, and it was asking me why, and I kept on clicking. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable.
By the way, I've scrolled down to the top 30, and I still have not found someone I recognize. It took me until 31. Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. $90, in case you're wondering.
That's not bad.
God, I'm old. Holy crap. Anyways. That's the kind of rabbit hole we go down in between breaks.
Yeah, it checks out.
Nick the Greek, another 100 bit, says, remember when Jeremy went on a third Bumble date with a girl, but then Dan Pass mysteriously showed up and wound up taking that girl back to his hotel room in Corktown? Dan, how could you?
Oh
how could you let that happen?
Listen, Dan's got game. Not in between breaks, sorry. In between segments. You knew what I was saying. Nick the Greek, another 100 bits, says, remember when Eric Schlitt was convinced Jelani Tavai was the missing piece that was going to deliver the division title to the Lions?
I mean, he has been really good for the Patriots.
You know, I don't know if you've heard Eric talk about this since. That's a little bit of an exaggeration of the truth, but his justification is that in training camp they used Jelani Tavai entirely differently than they actually ended up using him in the season. And there's no way to go back and check whether that's true, but I feel like that's a little bit of an over-exaggeration of what happened.
I also feel like on the list of things that I'd want to do with my day when I woke up in the morning and opened my eyes, that'd be the lowest thing that I'd want to do is go back and watch Jelani Tavai tape.
Jelani Tavai training camp tape? You don't want to do that? You don't want to go up to Allen Park and see if they'll cut you some Jelani Tavai training camp tape?
I'll be there tomorrow. Let the PR department know.
I mean, if I could watch it like with Sean Dion Hamilton, he'd probably have like a pretty cool perspective on it. It'd be fun. He would never do it and be like, "Why? Who are you and why are you wasting my time with this?" But
no, you're not allowed. You have to watch it with Coach Jason Brown from Last Chance of You.
No, I would rather never leave my house again. Period. Lefty Detroit, 54 months subscribed to the channel, says, got my first jerky order and can't wait for her to get here Friday. There we go. And try some good jerky. Let us know, Lefty. You've been a supporter for us forever. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, let us know if it was Miko that finally got you to buy some. Yeah.
Oh, for last week's read. that was the selling point.
That's right.
That's a compliment to you, Miko.
You just need a little humanity.
You could sell a ketchup flavored popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
Tommy boy.
Ah, okay.
That's
Nick
right. Miko with the movie references. Nope.
Another 100 bits from Nick the Greek says, remember when a dime bag used to cost a dime? All right, now you're showing your age. Nick the Greek, one more 100 bits, I think. Yeah. Says, I, for one, will never forget Matt Patricia's ample bosoms and the shelter they provided to me in a time of need. Hey, good for you.
Oh, he's got more.
Oh, you're right, he does. But before that, Slyest Rye, using his Twitch Prime over here. That's our good friend Ryan Matthews. 42 months subscribed to us on Twitch. Nick the Greek, another 100 bits, says, Rakusen and DiCaprio Boodle in the final round of the name competition. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was a little jealous that Storm Duck was on the field today and was not playing for the Detroit Lions.
I remember Storm Duck.
Yeah. Nick the Greek, 1 bit. Not going to read that one. MJ Kimball, thank you for the 57 months of 57 rushing touchdowns. How many is that a game? 3?
A lot.
Over 3? A little over 3 a game? Maybe. Kai G, 7 months, says, see you tomorrow camp. Hey, enjoy yourself, man. You can say hi if you want. I don't know what side the offense is going to be on, but I'm going to be on the offensive side of the ball because I'm mad that I missed out on just what everyone was telling me was maybe one of the most dominating days by a single player in training camp. I didn't do it, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to tag Arif on just the minute highlights of Amon-Ra. Not a top 10 receiver.
He'd be so quick to say Jack Jones.
Probably. Am I caught up? Oh, MJ Kim. No, we're caught up. We're caught up. I did it.
That one double move route though.
The very first one. Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
You guys want to watch it again? Do you just want to watch it on stream? That's not copyright stuff, right?
Nah. No, we're good on that.
Good on. Wait, what are you saying? You don't want to watch it, or are you saying you're good?
Oh, I meant
we're
good on like not getting. Yeah, we're in the clear on copyright.
All right, let's watch it then, because it was so much fun. And I'll share my screen with you guys so you guys can watch it on your screens. That one. Oops. Desktop. There we go. Let's go full screen. And we'll keep the sound on. Gotta back it up. Laid hands. Laid hands. Also catching it off his head.
Gonna say a little David Tyree there.
I love all the constant muting that the Lions had to do there for all the swear words. He just toasted him there with speed.
Oh yeah, that was another rep where I was like, oh, that's just he's faster.
Yeah. Then you get into team drills. Same. Team drills, red zone. Tim Patrick all over him. And that's the very last drive. I saw that one live. Just, I mean, like half these, there's no one within yards of him.
Yeah.
I think that's funny is like tomorrow there may be a focus on like, hey, let's make sure that 14 doesn't have a day.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna be like 87 that's torturing them all day.
Like, there's like 3 moves in a half a second here. Like, there's an inside move there, and then there's a chopping of the feet right here.
Yeah, like
and
he's
that's the
gonna
one that
break down
kills.
and
Like,
come
look
back to the
where he's
ball.
at right now. He's so screwed.
Is that looks like the Jumpman logo?
Like,
man.
I have never seen someone get beat this bad. And Khalif makes a lot of people look stupid. I've never seen this.
Did you see the photo that Nolan retweeted?
No, I don't think so.
So at the end of this play where I think Amon-Ra's like pointing, you can see the defender, he just like has his like head back like this. Like
Oh, you're right.
at the end of the rep.
Yes, let me see if I can find that because that is a really good picture.
That's a dude that knew that he was gonna be all over social media, like
Yeah, it's just like, oh, it's like I can't hide from this. Like it was AI. I have it right here, Jeremy. Oh, you got it.
Yeah. Just the anguish in the background is so good.
oh man. Put it on the shirt. Put it on a shirt, Lions.
Right. Oh.
Say that loud enough and Breaking T will hear you.
This is why though I'm
You don't know it won't
not
be
I'm not trying to cool off on the JMO hype, but I'm trying to remind people of just how important Amon-Ra is because I think any talk about JMO out receptioning is out of the question.
Sure.
I think Amon-Ra is gonna have 40 more catches than JMO. Yardage is maybe a different conversation, but I don't think it's going to be close still. Like, Amon-Ra is the go-to guy when you need to have it, and that's not going to change.
No, it won't change. But will he be an 18 yards per reception wide receiver? Maybe if Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing as well as he is, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for big plays. I saw somebody today, it was a Dolphins fan, called JMO an end-around merchant. And I was like, shut up. You're so dumb. Like, I hate the internet.
The entire Dolphins offense is misdirection merchants. Tyreek Hill, misdirection merchant. Speed merchant. I can just, I can take away all of your accomplishments by just throwing a word merchant under and after something you're good at and make it sound like it's trivial. Oh, Amon-Ra's just like a route merchant. He just runs good routes. Big deal.
Yeah. No, the Dolphins are an illegal shift merchant.
Dude, they had so many penalties on offense today, too. I didn't even talk about that. They had like 5-6 holding penalties, a false start, OPI. It was a mess.
So I had read somewhere that they had to like implement the Aiden Hutchinson rule, where it was like Hutch was in the back, and they were just like,
see that. There were definitely late whistles, but like what I said happened. Like Tua just gave up on those plays at some point, where he's just like, Aiden Hutchinson is standing a foot from me. What do you want me to do?
I'm so excited. Which kind of like, I'm glad you said it because it kind of leads me to the question I wanted to ask you guys because it was about the defense. Because I feel like the Lions defense has started to, I guess I should ask it this way. When do you think the Lions started to have an identity on defense again? And who do you give like the most credit to for that?
Well, I mean, they've had an identity, I would say, since 2022 in terms of like their run defense, right? Like they've been a really good run defense since back then, but they've still been a bad overall defense really until last year, right? Is that probably fair to say?
Yeah.
I think last year was like, yeah, like the like stamp of like, okay, like this is a good defense
Yeah.
front to back. In spite of like the injuries that were mounting.
Yeah. I feel like 2023 Hutch was like just not quite there. I will say that I will definitely eat crow about how I thought he was such a like high floor, you know what the ceiling is player. Like
Same.
I think a lot of people thought that. I think a lot of people thought like he was quote unquote the safest pick
Right.
of the big three edge defenders in that group. But
in retrospect, like we can recognize
this.
in retrospect, we can recognize how calling a rookie like near his ceiling already is kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think like, I mean, to Ryan's point, like I was probably like borderline disrespectful with it at times where it was like,
Wait, this is how we learn.
I was
though,
like,
Nico.
I was very adamant that like, oh, like he'll be like Trey Hendrickson. Like that's literally where I had him penciled in, which again was like not a bad player, but
Right.
like,
I mean, Trey Hendrickson's one of the best edge rushers in the NFL.
right. But like in comparison to like what TJ Watt is or what, you know, Nick Bosa, the football player is, like that's where I was just like, I don't know if he'll reach that status. And like he clearly hasn't. But the reason I asked that question, and it's like super random, but like I have a sweatshirt that has CJ GJ on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I was like, one, I was like, why do I still have this? And then two, I was like, I feel like that's for me when like the defense switched, like from a mentality standpoint, where it was just like, I felt like they started playing like they were a better defense than they were. And I don't know, it's probably not fair to give him a lot of credit, but I remember like CD coming in and him just being like, no, we're going to be this. And it felt like the first time a player like was adamant about like, this is who we're going to be.
He gave the secondary swag.
Yeah. And I feel like since then, that's where this defense has started playing to that like confidence level. Like it was a lot. I feel like before then, it was a lot of dudes that were like, oh, I want to lead by example. I want to do this. I want to do that. And it was just like, cool, but who's going to be the Panay for the defense?
Right. Who's going to bark? Who's going to be the not lead by example guy and just lead, period.
March to the beat of their own drum.
So what I'm hearing is from you, Miko, is you want them to bring the ski masks back. That's what I'm hearing.
I thought the ski masks were cool.
I did too, honestly. I did too.
I thought it was cool that we had something. Like Philly had the dog masks, like, and we had the ski. And I was like, that's so cool. And then we like,
it's
what happened? One game.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dagger Time though. Like Dagger Time lasted an afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, but it's so easy for those like hokey things to die, like an awful death.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think like what the dog mask thing for Philly came in during their playoff run. Isn't that when they started wearing them?
Maybe.
And then they won the Super Bowl, and then it kind of like stuck for a minute, where it's like, oh, okay, like that's cool.
Yeah. Would it shock you if I told you guys that since 2020, Trey Hendrickson has 70.5 sacks? So
No.
in 5 seasons of football, he has 70.5 sacks.
That's pretty wild. That's like one every 1.4 games or something crazy.
Past 2 years, 17.5 sacks.
No, but I think it makes it crazy that like why Cincinnati won't pay him.
Canuck Duke still has his ski mask. When's the last time you threw it on, Canuck Duck? On game day.
Those things were sold out. You couldn't find a blue ski mask on any website.
It's so funny to me.
The fact that people went out and found them, like, of all the types of colors of ski masks that you could be like, oh, there's blue ones out there, and people were just like, yes.
Imagine you're just like a ski mask manufacturer, and like you have no idea the NFL exists, and you're just like, what is happening right now?
What's going on? Like, do we
it's
need
only
to, like,
blue. What's happening?
Do we
Why
need to, like,
why is it only the blue ones?
Yeah. Do we need to call the LAPD?
Is there just like
No,
this
because they were all
gang
coming to
forming?
Detroit. So like, so you're probably like, do we need to call the Detroit Police Department? They have a riot on their hands.
Yeah.
Oh man. I love those little quirky eras of Lions football, even if they aren't associated with good memories necessarily. I love those little things.
It wasn't all bad, Lions still had a good year that year. Great year that year.
It was just delayed.
Yeah.
Nick the Greek, 167 bits, says, "You will never convince me that Miko is eating bags and bags of beef jerky. He's just not bloated enough to be credible. This is Potemkin Village jerky propaganda."
Bro, I'm almost out. I think I have
believe
like one more. I think I have one more of Soul Survivor, one more bootleg barbecue, and then I have I have a few more like Fal Capone meat sticks.
I'm telling you, the calorie protein trade-off is pretty damn good for a snack.
I was like so tempted to flex too when like Nick the Greek said that he doesn't believe, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna be that guy.
Do it. No. Flex on him.
I'm in good shape. I'm in good shape though. So like,
you are.
I'm absolutely staying on top of my beef jerky intake.
I think if there was a POD combine, Miko would run away with it. Maybe like clean sweep every event in a decathlon.
Probably, yeah.
No, he's too humble to agree.
It depends. If it's like, throwing a football into like a bucket, like probably not. But if it's just like pure athleticism, I do all right.
Yeah. So like a track and field event would serve you better than a decathlon of sports.
Yeah.
I know that sounds the same, but you know what I mean.
No,
Ryan,
like
I tried this thing.
Did you?
And it sucks.
What do you mean?
It's dumb. Like so all right. So Ryan shared the sports misery index that ESPN shared. That is just like, hey, who are your teams? This is how miserable you should be. What?
Yeah.
It's like 90. You should be a 94 miserable if you're a Lions fan. I'm like, what is this stupid thing? Nah. Plus, I don't know. It feels like it's trying to jump on AI stuff. I'm sorry. I played around with it for 2 minutes. I'm like, this is worthless to me.
So, somebody did tell me that the order you put the teams in like affected like the score, because somebody said that they put the same teams in as I did, and like all the same amount of years or whatever, but like because they were in a different order, like they had a higher score than I did.
That's interesting, I guess. Or just weird, or probably a malfunction. That would be my guess. It's probably just a malfunction because it's dumb.
Oh yeah, no, I really love how ESPN is like trying to like remind you like how much
like your team
sports should make you miserable unless you live in Massachusetts.
It's like I got a pretty good hold on why it sucks to be a Red Wings fan right now. You don't need to tell me that. Thanks.
Yeah, you don't have to let me know why the Tigers are the most frustrating team to watch.
Right.
How excited I am for Lions football because I have to watch the frickin' Tigers. I started watching. No, never mind.
Austin Mammoth with a question here. If the Lions sweep the Packers, can Morgan post a single tweet from the POD Twitter? Yes.
Wow. Oh no. You've opened Pandora's box.
No one's going to remember.
I will.
I will.
Nope.
Because I want it to happen.
You say you will now. You say you will now. You won't remember.
Someone
clip it.
This,
make it your homepage. I don't care. You're not going to remember. How would he do under the pressure of going against other Detroit beat writers while doing various athletic challenges? Well, that's the thing, is like those are more sporty things. It's kicking a field goal, it's catching a punt from the jugs, throwing competition, golf competition we did one year, basketball competition we did one year. What sports did you play, Miko?
So much harder. Basketball, track, and like football for like a year. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna count middle school. I played football in middle school too, but
what do you? You did not, Ryan, set the title of our homepage Slack room. If the Lions sweep the Packers, Morgan gets to send a single tweet from the POD Twitter account.
Yeah, let's act like it's a
Yes.
serious thing. Do you know what it replaced?
Some player and dates that they're dead.
That their Lions career ended. It was Julian Okwara, and before that,
Julian Okwara.
yeah,
He had 2 sacks in a preseason game this year, by the way. According to Romeo Okwara's Twitter or Instagram.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for him.
Good for him.
I wonder what Romeo's up to. I know he's
assume
like
he's still
big into
local.
Well, he's big into photography. I remember that.
Yeah.
I feel like Morgan said something recently about like him still being like in the area, like
Yeah. He's a
doing
big
something with
Detroit
photography,
guy.
doing something with
Yeah.
like art.
That Tesla grab is pretty sick.
Yeah. Not the cleanest route, but like a pretty damn sick catch where he's coming back to the ball and diving and Dan sending the clip to Morgan on Twitter. Oh, you guys. I need you guys to come with that energy with like clips that you just enjoy from the show that we can turn into social media clips.
That can get us all paid. That
Yeah.
can like,
That can get us more followers because
Yeah.
honestly, that's what
We're
clips really
we're gonna make some changes to some things, both on YouTube and maybe with these live streams a little bit to try to bump up our numbers a little bit because we're confident in the product we're putting out, and we think it deserves more views. To unharmfully state it,
more sponsorships. Like
that works too. I mean, I'll
why
take
isn't
that.
why
Definitely
isn't
more
why isn't Checkers? Why isn't Checkers sponsoring this podcast? Why isn't Jet sponsoring this podcast?
The amount of money I could have raised for Taco Bell when their app didn't suck.
I was gonna say the amount of money we would never get from Raising Cane's.
nope, I'll promote the hell out of Chick-fil-A.
Miko's gonna draw a moral line in the sand when it comes to shilling for.
Well, Miko's get like how Chick-fil-A has those like testimonials now, like those all their commercials are basically testimonials from like this is a real customer who had their prom at a Chick-fil-A. I'm like, okay, well,
Bro. So the number of times that like Chick-fil-A has just randomly sent me like a reward, we're like, hey, you get a free chicken sandwich, and I'm like, this is why I love you. I didn't expect a free chicken sandwich. I haven't done nothing to deserve this chicken sandwich. But guess what? Go in there and get my free chicken sandwich.
yeah. I gotta say the McDonald's app is a little aggro. They need to scale their notifications back by like 60%.
I think I have them turned off.
That should probably be that. That should
Yeah.
Since I only go there for
the same.
breakfast. I literally don't go to McDonald's for anything other than breakfast. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't care if your sausage McMuffin has hot sauce on it. That doesn't sound like a good flavor combination to me.
Not good.
Oh man.
We've slipped into
Yeah.
fast food talk again.
All right. Segment 2.
There was one other really nice comment that I wanted to pull out. From Casey says, "Hey, love when Miko and Jeremy on the same stream. Love Miko's standalone videos too."
Appreciate you guys. Trying to get back into the flow of getting those out.
Okay. Yeah, let's jump back into it.
All right. So just to be clear, second segment will be all offense, or do we want to do offense and preview?
Let's just talk. I mean, since I didn't witness the offense myself, let's just like touch on a little bit.
And like I feel like mostly preview. And by preview, maybe like what are we looking to see?
I'm with it.
Okay.
All right. Sweet. All right. Gosh, I'm sweating. Celestial Soldier, thank you for the 24 months subscribed on Twitch. 2 freaking years, which right before we come back to break, I will remind people that if you have Amazon Prime, you can support the POD cast for free. All you have to do is create a very free Twitch account that takes almost no effort. You go into the settings of that account, you link accounts to it, you link your Amazon Prime account, boom, they will give you 1 free subscription every single month that you can use. Pays us the same as a regular subscription, so it's worth just the same to us. All you have to do is that. It does not automatically renew like a paid subscription, so if you did it more than a month ago, check it right now. Click the subscribe button and see if there's a little use your Prime sub checkbox. Click that. Do it for free. just like sorry, Veltron. I read it wrong. Veltron, they give you the 30 months. Says sorry, not Prime. Hey, we'll take those too. It would have been perfect timing if it was a Prime. Don't get me wrong, but either way. And I will also say, if you don't have Twitch Prime, September is coming. And Twitch likes to run little subscription deals in September. So if you maybe this isn't a good month for you financially, maybe next month's a little better. They're gonna run some deals. Whether that's I don't know what the deal is. Sometimes it's 20% off. Sometimes it's 50% off gifted subs. But just keep that in mind when the season starts. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Going into segment 2, guys, we're going to definitely dive into the offense and their performance today during joint practice, as well get to, looking ahead to their preseason game against the Miami Dolphins and just talk a little bit about what we can expect from that matchup. But first and foremost, Jeremy, we talked a lot about the defense and the defense having a dominant day, but you mentioned it in the first segment that this also was a kind of like a get right day for the offense as well. And I think one of my biggest takeaways that I think we absolutely have to talk about is that I think Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of went out today and reminded everyone that may have forgotten he's the best wide receiver on the team, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's particularly close, and that's no disrespect to Jameson Williams or anyone else on that team, or Isaac Toslaw, or whoever you want to throw into that conversation. I wasn't there, and I didn't watch. I mean, I was there, but I didn't watch the offensive side of the field, so I can't personally say I witnessed this, I witnessed that. But when your team puts out a 13-catch, 1-minute highlight reel of a single practice against a team, like, that is a butt-whooping of epic proportions. And some of the moves he made on whoever was on him was just like A+ S tier level performance. And listen, I think it also bears repeating that he remains by far Jared Goff's favorite target when they go to team drills. A lot of the stuff in that highlight reel is, 1-on-1s, 7-on-7s. When it's full team, like actual drive stuff, he is still out receiving everyone else on that team like 3-1. And I would say the closest person next to him is Sam Laporta. So Amon-Ra is still wide receiver 1, and I think significantly so. He obviously won't have the big play effect that the Jameson Williams will, and he's certainly not like most improved like Jameson Williams is, but he remains an all-pro for a reason, and I think he reminded a lot of people in Miami about that this week. You're muted again.
Sorry, Ryan. I feel like when it comes to the run game of the Detroit Lions, like that's the straw that stirs the drink in a lot of areas. Amon-Ra St. Brown to me is the nice umbrella that keeps it looking like sleek and sexy, and really kind of like keeps it at the forefront of people's mind of like, hey, this passing attack is really dangerous.
It is, yeah, and it'll stay that way, as long as the offensive line holds up. And I think that's where the discussion maybe can naturally kind of turn here when we're talking about the offense. And from the things I read, Jeremy, and I know, like you mentioned, you didn't pay close attention to it. I was reading Ben Raven's observations from MLive, and he talked about, the run game deserves some love as well. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs were running hard and seemed to get 6 or 7 yards every chance they got. Montgomery did have a fumble that he lost, but then recovered. But he also mentioned like some of the good stuff with the offensive line. He particularly noted Tate Ratledge and Graham Glasgow as having particularly strong days. So where is our level of concern with the offensive line now? Like, has it changed so much in just one practice?
Well, I mean, it's a good reminder that Taylor Decker changes the calculus on a lot of what we saw in the first 2 weeks of training camp for sure. But also, it's continuing to serve as a reminder as if one of those tackles goes down, like, it is a pretty significant step down, and there is a concern beyond there. Again, like, I don't think you need to focus on that. Like, there are a lot of teams, I would say probably like 90% of them, that don't have a really good offensive tackle 3 or a guy that they even trust at offensive tackle 3. So in terms of like panic level of problems, that's probably a 3 out of 10 at most. But yeah, like now you have your starting five. Now those guys can continue to build reps over the next 3 weeks and build that chemistry. You know, Christian Mahogany is a guy that, you know, has had a really good training camp, but he hasn't repped a lot next to Taylor Decker, and that sort of chemistry is going to matter. So, I think it's great now that all 5 of those guys are out there. They're healthy right now. They're going to continue to get reps tomorrow, next week against the Texans. Every practice in between, maybe a preseason game. I doubt it, but maybe. Actually, definitely not a preseason game. Dan has basically said, like, there's no way I'm going to tell Taylor Decker to go out there, play a preseason game. But either way, I think it's great that it's great, obviously, that they're playing well, that Jahmyr Gibbs is very confident in his offensive line right now. But even just getting the starting 5 out there and building that chemistry is just as important of news, I would say.
I would say like it is a little eye-opening or a little bit of a head scratcher that we may not see this offensive line at least for like a series or 2 at all this preseason. And not because like you kind of mentioned, Jeremy, like Dan said, like it's not because Taylor Decker needs it, it's not because Penei Sewell needs it, it's not because even Graham Glasgow needs it, but like even Mahogany and Tate Ratledge, like they're still relatively new, and you're talking about potentially week 1 trotting all 5 of these guys out there for the first time to take live bullets, you know, like with each other. Like, not questioning Dan's decision making here, but I do think that's an interesting decision to make, considering you do still have 2 young guys on the inside of your offensive line and 1 player that's sliding over to center that hasn't played that position in a while.
Are you guys surprised a little bit? Because I don't know if this is just my perception or if this is true, but I feel like more teams are playing their starters in the preseason this year than in years past. Like, I think everyone in the NFC North is going to do it. We already saw the Packers do it. We already saw the Vikings do it. And to be clear, I'm just judging this based on starting quarterback. I don't know how much of their offensive line is starting and things like that. And I know Ben Johnson recently said that in their next preseason game, their full offense is going to give it a go.
Yeah, I think we have seen a lot more teams do that. And maybe that's just a correction that we talked about way back when we went from 4 preseason games to 3 preseason games, and trying to figure out like which one's the dress rehearsal and which one is this one, and trying to kind of one-to-one it, so to speak. And I guess it was just like a lot of NFL teams kind of figuring that out. And I think the Lions feel pretty comfortable with what they have in terms of these
working.
Joint practices, right? Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, I don't want to make this come across as if like I'm saying that Dan doesn't know what he's doing or this is a mistake, but it is an interesting decision, like you said, Jeremy, especially when you look across the rest of the league, and a lot of teams are at least giving their starters, again, a series probably at most in some situations. But I think that's a good place to kind of pivot and look ahead to the Lions' next preseason game, where I think there are a number of questions that we could each have. And so, Ryan, I want to kind of start with you. Like, what is the number one question that you're going into this preseason game that you are hoping to get an answer to, or maybe even just collect more information on?
Is Nate Lynn going to make this roster? I want to know. I want to know if he can continue to be as productive as he has been in the first 2 games. It's going to get to a point where he won't be a guy who you can waive and have join practice squad. Like, it's not going to work. Like, I think somebody would come through and snatch up Nate Lynn in a heartbeat. And I think maybe the Lions, in a roundabout way, had some fortuitous luck with his injury last year, because I think that he probably could have done this in the preseason last year, and it could have been very similar to why am I blanking on guy's name that
James Houston?
Defensive back that went from Detroit to
Starling
Arizona.
Thomas.
Starling Thomas, right? Like, right. I think it could be a situation where the Lions just have a talented roster, and a spot where I do feel like they need more depth along the defensive line, specifically on the edge. And Nate Lynn, I think, represents a very intriguing option both now and in the future, because the guy is relatively young, Jeremy. So I really want to see if Nate Lynn can continue to refuse to be ignored by this coaching staff when it comes to making a decision on 53 players for this roster.
Yeah, I mean, when you consider, we don't know if Mekhi Wingo is going to be ready to start the season. We don't know if Josh Pascal is going to be ready to start the season. What's that mean for Nate Lynn? What does that mean for Keith Cooper? What does that mean for Ukwu, who got a shout out from Campbell today and had a good rep or two today at practice. Got a little bit of work with the ones actually as well. It's definitely a position to need, but I feel like they're the same amount of questions in the secondary when you talk about the depth, because I think you're really confident about corners 1 through 4 maybe, and safeties 1 through 3. But then beyond that, it's like you have a bunch of these young players. You have a bunch of these new additions at corner that were, have only been here a month. You've got kind of like this Ian Kennelly, Lauren Strickland battle happening. Like, it's not sexy, but these are the things that really you need to be looking forward to on Saturday, because we're getting all the information we need about the 1s and 2s right now. It's all about these guys that are really, 48 to 53 on the roster in those last position battles left. So I think it's defensive line. I think it's a secondary. I think QB2 is still very much a huge storyline in the preseason that at this point I feel like, because it's another joint practice tomorrow, it's another one joint practice next week, like these 2s and 3s are not going to get a lot of work during those practices. You're going to have to show it in the game. And that means Hendon Hooker better, like, he got to fix things up in a hurry.
I want to ask you real quick, Jeremy, like when you say cornerbacks 1 through 4 and safeties 1 through 3,
yeah,
Rock Ya-Sin belongs in both those categories, right?
I didn't count him twice because he would technically be safety 4 behind
Avonte Maddox,
I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe he's ahead of Avonte Maddox in the safety depth chart.
I don't know. It's a good problem to have there.
Yeah.
I was going to ask the question too, in addition to that, because you both mentioned 2 different position groups that I think Lions fans would all agree, like, hey, the Lions need quality depth at both. I would say, though, for me, I would lean more towards Ryan for the simple fact of what you said about Nate Lynn possibly not making it to the practice squad. Like, Jeremy, is there anyone that you feel like in the secondary group where you're just like the Lions might want to find a spot for this guy, because I don't think he'll make it to your practice squad?
No, I don't think so. Like, to me, I mean, maybe it's Ian Kennelly because he's made a couple plays in the preseason, and I just don't feel like it's been enough though. For me, it's like, it's not, maybe not an embarrassment of riches on the defensive line, but it's a deeper position. Like the problem you have with the defensive line is not who's going to fill these positions, it's who can't you fit on the roster. With the secondary, it's the opposite problem, right? Like, you have those top 6, 7 guys. You're not sure about 8, 9, and maybe 10. And it's not that like those guys aren't standing out necessarily, but they're not like, oh, we can't let, this guy go. We can't let Lauren Strickland go. We can't let, I don't know, who's one of, like, DiCaprio Boodle go.
Nick Whiteside.
Like, Whiteside, right.
Yeah, there's a question there with Khalil Dorsey too, though, right? Like,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen him warming up or anything. Like, he was supposed to be a guy that would be ready by the end of training camp, and getting kind of close to that time, and I'm a little bit surprised to not even see him working out with trainers very often. Maybe he's just on a different schedule and they'll have him out there on time, but maybe the Lions have already made a decision and said, like, you know what, we're not going to hurry you back.
Yeah. I was going to say, the one thing that I'm kind of looking for a couple answers on goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast, which was Sione Vaki, by becoming more available. And does Vaki have an opportunity to carve out a role, right? Like, I don't think it's necessarily whether or not he'll make the roster, but it's just like, do you have an active game day role on this team? Whether that's kickoff, whether that's kick coverage. Like, we've seen just so little of him, but I think a lot of us feel like there's a lot of potential there to have an impact somewhere on this team. And I think Saturday, again, especially if we get less Craig Reynolds and more Sione Vaki at running back, like, maybe we can start to get that glimpse of, okay, maybe there is a competent quality RB4 that can actually service, this team going forward.
That's my number 2 storyline that I'm paying attention to, is how do they use Sione Vaki? And also, Jeremy, if I don't get a Grant Stewart, Sione Vaki kick return, we riot. We really do. We riot because the world needs that. But I think Miko's point is a good point. Like, if he shows some chops as a running back, because there were the flashes in the last preseason. There were some runs where it was like, oh, okay, I understand why they were so comfortable in just making that position change from safety to running back, even though there was so little data and so few snaps in college to make that decision. I really want to see that. I think in preseason game 3 is like 4, 5, 6, 7 touches for Sione Vaki as a running back.
This is going to sound disrespectful, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I'm almost more excited to not see Craig Reynolds get blown the F up.
Oh, we all want that. We don't want to see
Sione Vaki play. Like, I know that sounds disrespectful kind of to both players, but I'm not trying, like,
right.
I don't want to see Craig Reynolds. I know who he is. I'm happy with him as RB3. Let's just leave it in that and not get the guy murder balled again.
Can I ask you a question about that, though?
Yeah.
What I find curious is that he is getting so many touches. And I know that it's like it was a numbers game in terms of the Sailors and small and whatnot, but did they want to see that because they feel like Sione Vaki could be RB3? So it's like,
no.
I'm not saying that they're ready to cut bait with Craig, but I'm saying, like, is Craig going to win that RB3 job now that Sione Vaki's back?
My explanation, and this is not the team's, this is my speculation, is that they wanted the offense to move the ball consistently and put Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen in the best position. And
That's
Craig
fair,
Reynolds
yeah.
was the guy who gave them the best chance to do that with no Vaki, with no, with your other two running backs being guys that you just added from the UFL 24 hours ago, right? Like, I think that's probably the best explanation. And for me, it's just like Vaki, the potential's there. We're all really excited about the potential there. But I still think he's considerably far away, and why I think that is because he hasn't practiced. He is behind.
Yeah.
Right? Like Dan Campbell was asked about it today. Here's what he said, quote, "When you can't practice, it's always a setback, especially when he's only had a very few days to where he was in. But it is what it is. That's behind you. You've got to call this day one. What are you going to do about it? So it's good to get him back on this grass. Day one.
Yeah.
Like, he's on day one. And so I don't think there's enough runway for him to win the RB3 job by week 1. Could he potentially take some of those responsibilities by the end of the season? Sure, absolutely. If he stays healthy, we know the Lions like to continue these competitions into the regular season. It's not like we get to week 1 and, all right, our depth chart is set. You got to continue to earn it. You got to continue to justify your spot on the roster. But I just think he's far enough behind right now that I don't think he's going to be RB3. I don't think he's going to have an offensive role until deep into the season, if at all.
Miko, do you find that interesting, the parallel between Sione Vaki and Craig Reynolds and the wide receiver position with what we have going on with Tesla and Tim Patrick?
Yes, because the way we all feel about Craig Reynolds is how I feel about Isaac Tesla. I would rather just not see him on the field. And I understand it's probably a numbers game and it's probably a byproduct of, like, hey, we need to see the offense produce and he gives us the best chance of being able to continue to move the football. But unless you're just trotting him out there to see if he can further separate himself from Tim Patrick or catch up to Tim Patrick, however you want to view it, like, I'm so good on Tesla at this point, and I don't necessarily think I need to see him in another game. I don't know how you guys feel, Ryan.
I think the Tesla stuff for me specifically is they still want to see more reps on the outside. Not saying that, like, he hasn't proven that, because it seems like he has proven that throughout both training camp and in these first 2 preseason games. But I don't think it hurts to have the rookie do more of that. And also, to your point, Miko, it gives them a really good look and gives them a really good shot of seeing the quarterback play, which, Jeremy, I want you to answer the question about Tesla, but I also want to obviously talk a little bit about quarterback too, even though I know you didn't see much of that or much of that today, I should say.
What's the original question about Lovett? Or sorry, about Tesla?
Oh,
sorry, Lovett.
Whoa.
He was out there practicing today. I got excited.
A new challenger appears. No, but essentially the idea about, like, Tesla getting more snaps in the preseason, like, what more do you need to see from him? Like, is it kind of a Craig Reynolds-esque situation?
Maybe, but I think with him, you're just, like, continually putting more on his plate, right? Like, he doesn't have a fully developed route tree. He probably is lined up in different plays, and, as they continue to expand the playbook, you want to get him out there and run different plays, right? And so I think with him, it's just still an overall development thing where I know people are probably scared for him to get injury, but I think he benefits from being out there. I think they like Tim Patrick enough where it's like, even if he were to suffer like an injury that puts him on the sideline for the month, like, it's still worth that risk because he is still developing as a receiver. But still, he's still developing as a route runner and all those things. Like, yes, there's not any questions about his effort. There's very little questions about his blocking. But, like, he is still growing as a receiver. And we continue to see the highlights, but, like, he isn't getting a ton of reps with the ones. He isn't dominating, the twos and threes. I think part of that is quarterback related, to be quite honest. But it is what it is there. I still think there's a little. I think the fans are a little too far ahead on Teslaw than where he's actually at. All that being said, he's blown my own expectations out of the water. So I'm not gonna sit here and say he's not been good. He has been good. I don't think he's been. You need to start him week 1 good yet.
I think that kind of dovetails into the perception of the quarterback battle too, Miko, where everybody saw Kyle Allen's performance in game 2, and it's like, what quarterback battle? Like I heard that so much throughout the week was like, what quarterback battle? It's over.
And I think like we could see things either swing the other way or things continue to accelerate for Kyle Allen going into this preseason game. Because if you're talking about a joint practice, again, it's the first joint practice. We'll definitely have to see how things go tomorrow. But if you're talking about the first joint practice where we're talking about like, man, this team looks so much more, far further ahead than the opposing team. And if Kyle Allen comes out here and struggles, like, call it fickle probably by the fan base, but like people are going to drastically swing the other way and being like, oh, maybe we may get into the camp, Jeremy, where people are like, we need to bring in a third quarterback into this quarterback battle.
I mean, I think that conversation has already started among some fans. It started after the first game, right? Because they're both terrible. I get rid of them both. And then Kyle Allen goes out and has a perfect preseason game. And they're like, get rid of Hooker. The other guy's fine.
Well, so that's the thing, though, is if Hendon Hooker has the game that Kyle Allen had in game 2, it swings the other way completely.
Yep. I don't think Lions fans will be as forgiving with Hendon Hooker because like there are some people that feel pretty dug in at this point. There's, it's been 3 years. One good game doesn't mean anything against a Dolphins defense that got torched by the Lions all week. Like you're gonna get some of that, right? But I do wonder, like, if this one goes in Kyle Allen's favor and significantly so, like it did in game 2. Is there enough time for Hendon to turn things around? Especially when, next week is another joint practice where it's going to be mostly ones. You only got one more preseason game left. Like, this game is so damn important for Hendon Hooker. Arguably, this is going to sound hyperbolic, and maybe it is, but it's arguably the most important game of his career. His football.
Well, especially in a game. Especially if we're talking about him potentially starting in the second half and working with the threes, right? So like you're even quote unquote further behind the 8 ball. I mean, obviously you're probably going against the threes, but like you're going to need to be able to make even more plays, Ryan. Like if you can't stand out amongst the third team players and you can't at least seem competent and again move the offense down the field and make big plays. Yeah, I think he really does have a danger of letting this, slip out of his fingers, regardless of whether I think that should be the case. Like it's very possible when Saturday rolls around.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the more interesting things to watch, and you don't want to write the book on the guy. And that's basically what it's kind of come back to with this whole quote unquote battle, right? Like I truly think it's a battle. And I think, Jeremy, I totally agree that like if Hendon Hooker doesn't answer the bell in round 3, it's like all uphill sledding. And what can you really prove in that final game? How much of that is our perception versus how much of that is, because when you hear Dan talk about Hendon Hooker, it doesn't sound so dire. It doesn't sound so end of the world. But I mean, he was very quick to say, I was fired up about Kyle Allen's performance. I thought he was awesome for a variety of reasons, right? He got into like a lot of the, just like, again, he got into a lot of the like the motion landmark stuff and where players needed to be and snapping the ball at the right time. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of that procedural stuff that we came into this preseason with question marks still surrounding Hendon Hooker. So I feel like if you read between the lines and you hear the compliments that Dan paid Kyle Allen, those are sort of quote unquote digs at Hendon Hooker as well.
Well, and
Yeah.
not to mention Ryan, he was also pretty straightforward about like why he pulled Hendon in the first place. Like, hey, those turnovers were bad, and it's just
And he said it so plainly where it's like anybody would agree, right? Like that's the rationale. Like if you can't take care of the football, I'm going to pull you out of the game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you have something to say. I know you do.
I don't really. I mean, he does tend to like soften the blow when he talks about Hendon Hooker, and you know, I've said it a couple times already. I do think his second game isn't quite as bad as everyone made it out to be, because I do think at least his accuracy was on, but that's not enough. It's not enough for what the Lions want in a backup quarterback. It's not enough to beat out Kyle Allen. And so there needs to be like, I mean, the guy hasn't led a scoring drive yet. Period.
Yeah.
In the preseason,
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
led to any points. He needs points so desperately, and thankfully he's going up against what appears to be a not so good Dolphins secondary. So
the thing that, again, like it's the reason why the Lions signed Teddy Bridgewater last year.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they doubt like his ability to make throws or his arm or various things. I think it's like a lot of the stuff that falls by the wayside when people evaluate quarterbacks. Like very, I don't want to boil it down and say that it's like elementary stuff, but it's like very like baseline, like you have to be able to at least do these things, Miko, so that we can trust that when you go out there, you're not going to make silly mistakes like turning the ball over because you're trying to do too much, or you're not going to run the play clock down. We have to burn a timeout, or, you're not going to snap the ball at the right time. Maybe that has to do with some of the like play calls that we've been scratching our heads with in terms of, routes and concepts and things like that, where it's like, how much of this is on Hendon Hooker?
It's I'm gonna like channel my inner Shannon Sharp here for a second and tell a personal story in a
Careful,
little bit in
careful,
regard.
careful.
But like I think about like how my parents raised like me and my siblings, right? Like me being the oldest, there was a higher expectation. So even if my siblings made similar mistakes that I did, like my mistakes were always highlighted brighter because there was an expectation that like, hey, you should be doing better in this. And that's kind of how I feel like things are with Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. Like I think the Lions have really high expectations for Hendon Hooker. So it's not a matter of like, well, he's making mistakes. It's the magnet, like the expectation versus the mistakes that he's making, right? Because I find it ironic that Dan's like, well, yeah, he had 2 turnovers, so we pulled him. Kyle Allen had 2 turnovers in the Hall of Fame game, and he still got to finish out the half. It's to me that shows expectation. We're expecting Hendon to be better. We're expecting him to be further along. And when he does these things, we have to be quote unquote harder on him, and we're going to be harder on him because we expect him to be better. And we're hoping that these things, Jeremy, I think you've pointed this out in the past, like you're hoping these things push him. You're hoping these things light a fire onto him so that he understands that like, hey, I need to be better going forward and doesn't shrink from those moments.
yeah, the last thing I want to say on this is you have to think about what the Lions want in this backup. And yeah, it'd be great if they had some guy that can operate, 80% at what Jared Goff can. But that's probably unrealistic, right? They want a guy. You are such a good football team. I kind of reject this notion that like if Jared Goff gets injured, they're screwed. Because they are so good everywhere else that they kind of just need a quarterback that doesn't screw up. They kind of just won't get them in negative plays.
It's a great point, because those turnovers are not the same between Kyle Allen and Hooker, right?
Yes.
Like it's a bad throw from Kyle Allen. Like,
Right.
but you can get over that.
Right. You can improve on that. But if your decision making is putting the ball on the ground, that is something they cannot bargain with. That is something they cannot deal with. And it goes back to what Dan Campbell even said, I think going into the first preseason game. I don't care if you're not getting first downs. I want you to make the right decision and let the players try to make those plays. I want you to just keep this team's head above water. Don't turn the ball. Like, that is why he pulled him, is because that is the one thing you cannot do with this team. If you just hand the ball off 3 times, maybe you have a Teddy Bridgewater drive. 60-yard touchdown run.
Easy, because it only took him 1 snap, I think, right?
Right. But that's what, like, that guy is surrounded by talent, whoever it is that steps in. You're surrounded by what we think might be a top 5 defense. Don't screw it up. That is your job. Don't screw it up. And Hendon Hooker screwed it up more than Kyle Allen has.
Absolutely. And I think that's a message that I think like, listen, I would even put out to the rest of the team, even going into tomorrow's joint practice, don't screw a practice. All right. I would love to be able to go into Saturday's game, continuing to ride high after another dominant practice. And also come out of Saturday's game and have a lot more things to feel good about and certain players to really shine and stand out in a big way so that we have again some really interesting battles at certain positions and have an idea of how much better this roster can be going into this upcoming season. So I don't know. You guys have any other closing thoughts on joint practice, on the preseason game, or are we kind of good to get out of here?
I'm just excited to be back in Ford Field, man. Going to a game and all. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Saturday day game?
Yeah. Well, I'm just as much excited about 1 p.m. games as I am being in Ford Field.
Boom.
We could
Does that
theoretically
equate
record
to-
on Saturday night if we wanted to. If we wanted to.
We'll talk about it.
All right. See you guys Sunday night.
I felt like that Dirty Dancing meme of like, you're wild.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to pretty much do it for today's podcast episode. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. Like always, if you enjoy what you're listening to and you even have any type of feedback, always leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast platform that we might be on that I'm not aware of. Also, if you guys want to continue to support Pride of Detroit and follow up with any of the content that we're putting out, you can always find that at prideofdetroit.com. Literally, there are new articles put up there multiple times throughout the day, so definitely check them out, especially on our newly revamped website that is so much cleaner, so much easier to use. A lot of people have had some positive things to say about it, so definitely check that out if you can. And if you aren't someone that like, or if you're someone that would love to watch the podcast, you can always do that over at twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit or youtube.com /Pride of Detroit as well as find other video content that we have over on the YouTube side of things. And last plug, check out Pride of Detroit Direct, because that's where you guys can get a lot of the, training camp breakdowns and insights from Jeremy, and potentially a surprise guest, because, if Eric's not there, Jeremy might tap somebody else to kind of help him break down practice. So
shout out Al.
Check those
Al
things
did a
out as well.
fantastic job, by the way. If you
Awesome job.
Yeah. Because I only watched defense, I missed basically half of practice, and Al did an awesome job breaking down the offense. So if you want more of that, pridedetroit.com/subscribe.
I'm gonna let you know ahead of time when I'm at practice on the 21st. Don't expect that same level of output from myself, because I'm not as well versed.
Fair enough. You work hard enough on this side.
Appreciate that. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for today's podcast episode. With all that said, I'm Miko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Recording stopped.
Boom. What's up, everybody? 200 people watching over there on YouTube, Jay-Z? Hey, hit that like, everybody. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. Other stuff.
My wife just scared the crap out of me because I did not hear them come in. And our bedroom door was like wide open.
Shredder's Rage, thank you for the 22 months subscribed on Twitch. Did use a Prime sub as well. Figured it out. I know there was someone else looking on how to do that. And yeah, you do have to do it on a desktop. But like you go here in your settings real quick. Hopefully I'm not showing any information. But you just connect your Amazon account right here. Other things you can connect it to. Connections at the top. Amazon.
Bang.
Boom. Simple. There we go. Okay. We're caught up. I'm going to refund your requests, Nick the Greek, just because I think Zazu's sleeping at this point, so I'm not going to bring him out here. Plus, I'm sweating bullets, and I don't want a 70-pound dog in my lap right now.
Got joint practice tomorrow morning, same time.
Yep, 10:30. Which before I was a little mad about because I kind of like the 8:30 practices, but I'm also liking at least the idea that I could sleep in, even though my body will not physically allow it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when do you get Dan availability tomorrow?
Yeah,
again
at 10. I think so, unless it's a coordinator day, but I don't think it is. We haven't talked to Fip. I'd like to talk to Fip.
I feel is it just me, or do I feel like we've talked to the coordinators less this offseason than in past?
feel like
That's a
we've
good
gotten
question.
less. I feel like we've gotten less John Morton, but then again, I feel like we didn't get like a ton of Ben Johnson.
I
Well,
felt like it was.
I
I felt like last year specifically. I thought we got like Dan for like 1 or 2 days, and then we would get AG and
that's
Ben
that's how
the
it'll
rest of
work
the
in
week.
the regular season. So like
Okay.
the regular season is Monday Dan, Wednesday Dan, Thursday all the coordinators, Friday Dan. And I'm assuming that's what it's going to be like again. But it's just like training camp, it's just mostly Dan. Like we don't
Yeah.
need to talk to John Morton every week.
Gotcha.
For a couple weeks there, I think we probably wanted to.
Maybe.
One practice against the Dolphins and everything's okay.
That's right. Now
I would love to
they're
talk
just
to
going to
John
trot him out tomorrow. What do you got to say now?
Slams down a list of receipts. It's like, oh, that's why Brad Holmes hired you.
He just walks into the Amon Ra compilation on the big screen.
Just more
Walks in
Shep
like
at this
Conor
point for me.
McGregor with the arm swinging.
It's like, have you ever seen a defensive back's legs look like this on a rep?
Is it just
I
gonna come in
told
with
you
the
everything would
shirt-
be just fine.
with the Amon Ra shirt with like the picture that we just looked at with Amon Ra just like pointing in the defense. Like, yeah, this was yesterday. That would win so many brownie points with the fan base if John Morton did.
Right.
I thought
Austin,
at first,
I love that, by the way, Austin. You said, watch your post-practice video while reading Justin's observations, then watch Lions Collective pod while reading Colton's observations, now this pod. Goddamn, I'm happy to have football back. That's the kind of, like, before I had this job, that's the kind of consuming of Lions football I had, where it's just like, I am reading every single observations, all the podcasts, everything I could possibly consume, I did.
was there as much though? I don't feel like there was as much.
No,
I feel
probably
like the way that Austin just described it, it's like it's a little bit like dopamine overload.
A little bit. Maybe a little bit. And I'm sure there's so much overlap too, but I don't know. After a practice like this, how could you not
Oh,
want as
100%.
much as you can take in? What do you think of Colton's 53-man projection? 3 quarterbacks, no Lovett, no O'Connor, Rock with the safeties, Maddox with the CBs. I mean, that is where those guys are playing. Maddox has been the nickel, Rock has been the safeties. 3 quarterbacks. I know Miko put 3 quarterbacks in his bubble watch, and I'm not completely against it. There's also the possibility of like you could theoretically cut. You could cut Kyle Allen, put him on the practice squad, and just have him be your QB2. Just like promote him to the active roster each game for however long you want to do that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's just like there are. I want 10 offensive linemen and I want 10 defensive backs and I want an extra defensive lineman, and it just feels like, are we really gonna keep a third quarterback and sacrifice that? I don't know.
I feel like that like would be like the downs. I don't know. Would it be a downside if like Hendon Hooker had a good game and like it kind of like swung back the other way, where it's like, is that something to be like disappointed in?
I mean, no, you shouldn't be, right? Like a Lions player is playing well, but like I get what you're saying. Like it complicates things further. But
Yeah.
it's not our decision to make. So yeah, it might make their job harder, but they're pretty good at making personnel decisions so far. I trust them.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Miko, but Jeremy very much sounded like Smales from Caddyshack. There with like, I want a hamburger, no cheeseburger, I want a hot dog, I want a milkshake, I want potato chips, I want.
See, that's a reference. I have somehow never seen Caddyshack.
Oh my lord!
The comedy fan that I am has not
No
seen
respect. No respect.
the Rodney Dangerfield Bill Murray classic.
But I think the name that's most interesting to me there, Miko, is Noah O'Connor. I feel like O'Connor just does too much on the defensive line in terms of versatility. And is that an injury thing?
I don't know if that's an injury thing. To me, like, I don't know. I almost look at that and be like, all right, is he doing like the thing where you're just cutting a veteran to sneak someone on the roster and then you're signing him back later? They did it with Kyle Pecco last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a guy is on your week 1 roster, a veteran's on your week 1 roster, they're their salary becomes guaranteed. Although I think I think we talked
O'Connor's
about this on the
salary,
mailbag.
yeah.
O'Connor's salary is like 1.2 or something, which is just like, okay, that's nothing.
I think the better question, Ryan, is did he cut Pat O'Connor for Nate Lynn? Because
Well,
then I feel like
Birdie says he had Cooper in and Lynn in.
sacrifices have to be made.
Well,
'Cause
Lynn is cool. Like I don't I guess I just need
55
to
wide
maybe,
receivers, 55 defensive linemen, 55 corners,
Yeah.
55 O line.
yeah, there's a
stole that from Purple.
better reference. I think the Keith Cooper stuff I just need to watch him more in preseason game 3.
I'm a little like conflicted on Keith Cooper because he has like he's gotten some work with ones, he's flashed here and there, but also like when you say someone is flashed, it's almost a little derogatory, right? It means he has good moments, but most of them aren't, right? That's kind of what you're implying when you're saying someone is flashing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way I feel about Keith Cooper, because every time we've done Bubble Watch, like he's a guy that I want to find a spot for, because I want the Lions to have the chance to develop him long term.
Yeah.
But then I constantly have to remember that like he's likely to be like a top practice squad guy.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and we play this game every year where we try to pretend like we know which guys are going to get poached and which guys aren't. Who's on like other teams' radar and who isn't. And it's really hard to predict. But the general pattern that we run into every year is that we think guys are going to get poached far more often than they actually get poached.
For sure. I subscribe to that. I will still say that I think Nate Lynn would get poached.
It's possible.
Oh,
But
that's
I can't sit
I
here
could
and
be
tell you you're
entirely
wrong.
wrong. Yeah, I could be entirely wrong though. So
It's very hard to predict.
he's probably one of the, like a handful of players on the like that are kind of like on the bubble right now that you would feel that way about.
how would you tier those guys though? I think you can get closer to which guys would potentially get poached if you put them into tiers. Like, and I don't think that I would put Cooper in the same tier as Nate Lynn.
No, and that's kind of I'm agreeing with you in that regard. Like, yeah, he would be a tier or two below.
And that's a good point you made, Jeremy, about the Pecco stuff with like O'Connor. I think O'Connor would have the leg up too, though, as I was like doing my digging and stuff. Like he has a background with Casey Rogers, like played in Tampa Bay. I mean, he plays all over the defensive line. He does special teams. Like
You do have to remind people this time of year that veterans don't go on waivers. That is like such a key point when you talk about these 53-man cutdowns because like if you cut Pat O'Connor and you want him on your practice squad, say, you could still lose him to a team that wants him on his 53.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
happened with Anthony Pittman last year, right?
Yes. With waivers, it's different. Like with waivers, if you're on waivers, you don't get to automatically put him on your practice squad. You have to wait and see if someone claims. And if he does get claimed, he has to go to that team's 53. He can't go to that team's practice squad. But still, like there are so many times we see these kind of like under the table deals of like, hey, we're cutting you today. We're either signing you back to the 53 tomorrow or we're going to sign you to the practice squad tomorrow. But don't worry, you are going to be in activation for the first. We're going to use all 4 of your game day activations and then we're going to sign you to the roster. And players will agree with that as long as they trust the front office that they're not lying. And I think this front office has earned the benefit of the doubt for most of these players. Where's Hendon Hooker on your tier of would get claimed?
Nate Lynn level.
I think he's in his own top tier.
You think he's in a tier above Nate Lynn?
Yes.
I think so, just because he's a quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's
a third round pick that had some interesting traits in college. Let me fix him.
Sure. I mean, like it's.
Sean
Well,
McVay is gonna.
Oh gosh. So some of those. I mean, the tier above Hendon Hooker are the Trey Lance who get traded, right? Like it's
Right.
like the Joe Miltons that get traded, right? It's that's an entirely different tier that I don't obviously think Hendon Hooker's in. Like I don't think that you're going to trade Hendon Hooker for anything of any consequence. He's not in the Malik Willis tier. so to speak, as you would say. However, I think that if you look at this team, like you put Hendon Hooker in that tier because he's a quarterback, Nate Lynn could actually have an impact on game day. Whereas, like, at this point, I'm totally fine with Kyle Allen being the backup quarterback. So it's like you want to keep three quarterbacks. That's where it's like I kind of take umbrage with, like, I don't want to put Nate Lynn on waivers, especially after like the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins are getting a heavy dose of them.
Sure.
The Houston Texans are going to get a heavy dose of Nate Lynn. So
you're saying let's hide Nate Lynn for the rest of the preseason?
just treat him like Rocky Sin. Don't let him see the field anymore. You've seen enough. You've seen enough.
Played a lot in the preseason too.
I know. That's why I'd like no more Rocky Sin. Whereas like with Craig Reynolds, it's like, God, leave the guy alone. Like, it's like he doesn't. What did he do to deserve this?
Write a letter.
Let him literally watch some
to the
Netflix.
boards.
Put
Write a letter to the
Microsoft
NFLPA.
tablets in his hand. Let him watch Netflix. New season of Stranger Things is coming out or something.
He did give us a great meme though, right?
He did.
Him and
That look
Tashard
that
Choice.
He gave Tashard Choice is fantastic. I sat there for a good 15 minutes this morning. I'm like, this is such a good picture. I need to like come up with a good caption. And mine, I gave it like a B minus. I gave it a passing draft grade. But it is such a good picture.
Minus.
Two more alerts and then we should get out of here. Sub-Ron, thank you for the 7 months. Subscribe, says, who gets more yards, to Slaw or Laporta?
Laporta.
Yeah, it's Laporta. He's going to have like double. It'll be like 400 to 800. 800 is kind of a lot, but I still think that's on the table for Laporta.
I got a sneaky question for you guys. Do you think it's a surefire thing that Amon-Ra leads this team in receiving touchdowns?
Receiving touchdowns. Touchdowns are fickle, so not a sure thing, but I think I would pick him.
But if it's not him, who would be your number two?
Laporta.
Receiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Laporta.
You're
gonna go with J-Mo, aren't you?
I think it's J-Mo. I believe I don't think I'm mistaken. I think they both had 7 because I had a bet that cashed. But I think they both finished with 7 last year. J-Mo and Laporta.
Do you think there's any chance Gibbs outdoes either of those guys?
Ooh, that would be muy caliente.
I don't think there is, but
I know, but a man can dream.
I would say if Gibbs has that type of output, we're talking about like offensive player of the year.
I think if that,
right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if that happens, Eric Schlitt might get his press credentials revoked because that means the Lions ran like 9 Texas routes in the red zone. And Eric is removed for hooting and hollering.
Eric would lose his credential if that happened. If he even got 2 Texas route touchdowns in a game, I think
in a game,
Eric would lose his composure.
And his shirt, amongst other pieces of clothing.
Right. I was gonna say if those two things, if that happens, and then BB gets another pick 6 in the same game, Eric's the guy that's streaking on the field, and they're just like,
that's right. And somehow Chase Lucas makes his way out of the tunnel.
I was gonna say.
At halftime to help the Lions win the Bourbon Bowl.
That's right. That's right.
Amon-Ra had 12 last year. J-Mo and Laporta had 7. I mean, J-Mo did play 1 less game than Laporta too.
LJ, I don't like that pop quiz because I think the reason you're asking that question is because I'm not going to like the answer. Who has more rushing TDs, Gibbs or Tom Brady?
I know who's watched more episodes of One Piece.
No, you don't. He's a phony.
I was gonna say, Miko, I thought he's a big fat phony. Is that?
Don't make Family Guy references. All right, just because I had that phase 20 years ago.
I totally forgot that it was Family Guy. For some reason, I jumped to Hey Arnold, and I think it was probably influenced by your T-shirt, Nickelodeon and Jace.
It's true.
But I saw a reel the other day, Miko, that made me think of you. It was a guy like talking to a genie about like a wish, and his wish is to like watch One Piece again for the first time.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you saw this, but he's like, he wishes for it, and the genie grants it, and then he sits down. He's like, 1,000 episodes. Not gonna watch this.
That's hilarious. If there is one show that I could watch from the beginning and like experience it for the first time, that's probably number one on my list.
I'm doing it right now with Amanda with The Wire. We're watching The Wire right now, and The Wire is so darn good.
This is what watch for you.
This is number 4 for me.
You guys want to know how many times I've watched One Piece from the beginning? No.
I don't think I do.
I definitely do.
It's
Because
so
I want to
disgusting.
judge the hell out of you.
Put it this way. I don't know the number. I do it every year though.
What?
Every year I watch, yeah, because like I watch anime every day. Like it's my number one form of like entertainment.
Yeah.
And so like One Piece has become like the thing that I can kind of just like put on in the background
Yeah.
and just like have on. And like I'll like blaze through episodes, and like obviously like every show like they go on hiatus for a little bit, and like yeah, like I just start over.
So, but that's like it's like almost 3 episodes a day, Miko. Average.
It's rookie numbers, bro.
That's holidays. That includes holidays. Like
Rookie numbers, bro.
It's like I think it's that good. I think
Is
it's
it-
like one of the greatest.
Wh-
It's
when
one of
you're-
the greatest stories ever told.
Like, what's your level of like attention when you're watching this? Are you like sitting down and it's the only thing you're doing? Is it you're watching it while you're scrolling on your phone? Are you in bed? Are you watching it?
Yeah, like I mean, it depends. Like I said, like it's the easiest thing I can throw on. So like if I'm working from home and like I just need something in the background, like I'll throw it on.
Okay.
Different arcs have like different amounts of attention. Like there's certain things that like I've just like it's nice to just have it on the background. And there's other like storylines where I'm like I'm locked in because I just want to re-experience that storyline.
I feel like not quite to that level, but on some of those levels, there are some like sitcoms that fall into that category for me. Like Parks and Rec is like that. Community is like that. I'm starting to really get into Brooklyn Nine-Nine more because there's 2 more seasons on Netflix now.
I
But
really need to get like I want to
rotate
get through
through
that
this.
one.
Yeah. Dude, Brooklyn Nine-Nine has like some real serious episodes sometimes. I love when a show that is like 99% extremely silly and goofy will just like, oh, by the way, we're going to like kick you in the heart right now.
yeah, that does happen in that show, which is interesting. Yeah, it's the opposite with The Wire. Like it's like a phone down. It's like a phone down show. Like phone like not in the room show.
Right.
Yeah.
So
One more alert. AC Deal, 4-month subscribe, figured out the Twitch Prime. That was a person asking how to get it done. So sorry it took so long to use it, but now I know how. Go Lions, and thanks for everything you guys do. Of course. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciate you. All right. Time to get out of here?
I think
It's
so.
almost 10 o'clock. Lord.
Dude,
It's
I'm
bedtime. My phone
freaking
tried to tell me to go to
exhausted.
bed an hour ago.
Same.
Amanda is out of town with the girls on vacation, and it's just been Teddy and I love it. It's one-on-one time. It's the best. We went to the mall yesterday. He went to the mall for the first time. Today we went and visited my grandma, and we went to a park and played, and it's awesome to get one-on-one time, but I am cooked. Like I am so washed. Like I don't know how people have like toddlers in their 40s. Like that is what like
Oh, you just reminded me. I need to make an appointment.
Jeremy? Jeremy?
I'm about to be 40.
Jeremy, just keep working out. Like keep working out, keep eating righteous felon craft jerky, getting your macros, stay in good shape, bowl more than once a year.
Bowling. Bowling is the key to parenthood.
Dude, I couldn't pick up Teddy with my right arm on Monday.
Yikes. All right.
I'm so
On that
tired.
sad message, I think it's time to get out of here.
You can do it. want me to say
LJ
that.
in 40s with a 3-year-old. She just busted her lip on a fireplace an hour ago during the show.
But I can't hold it against you, LJ. Like, you're not doing a bad job.
I was like, Morgan came close, and like,
Yeah.
it's no picnic in your 30s. Like having
Yeah.
kids, having like newborns or like toddlers in your 30s. Nah.
I'm about to get out of the Zoom call.
I'm about to Rob Schneider you.
That's right.
You can do it.
What do we got going on? Tomorrow, PODD video to recap day 2 of joint practices. Next POD cast, I'm going to safely say probably not Saturday. Sunday night might feel like a little more comfortable for everybody. No
Yeah.
feedback, great.
How's
No,
responding to chat?
I got a birthday party on Saturday, and I don't know what the heck that's gonna do.
Okay.
Like I don't know how long that's going. So
I think Sunday's
fine.
good.
Sunday should be good.
Sunday's solid.
Kind of helps get us into a little bit of a groove.
Maybe
'Cause
give me some time
Saturday
to watch them all
next
22.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Provided that we get it on time.
We're not. It's not gonna happen.
Have to
All
watch
right.
Dolphins broadcast.
No, I think do you get the home team's broadcast? I don't know how it works.
I hope so.
On NFL Plus. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate all the support, the subs, the follows, the YouTube comments and super chats and all that sort of stuff. Keep them coming. And we will see you